It's now 6:30 p.m. on Monday, March 31st, 2025. I now call this Winton City School Board of Education meeting to order. All rise and please say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. Seymour, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Knighton.
Present.
Mr. Spielman.
Present.
Ms. Bryant.
Present.
Dr. Johnson.
Present.
Mr. Smith.
Present. Next on the agenda is, I believe, why the majority of you are here, district honors, recognition, gifts, and introduction. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thank you, President Smith, and good evening, board. Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to see such a fantastic turnout, and we know why. We know why you're here. And we're just grateful and thankful for the opportunity to celebrate together tonight. So we'll begin this evening, and I'll start by saying we'll begin with the girls' varsity basketball team. And I'll just start by saying that they're in high demand. So they were actually last on the agenda because, you know, typically the feature presentation is the final presentation. But they're in demand, and they have another obligation later this evening. So we're delighted to be able to move them up, and we just appreciate them and the coaching staff being here. So I'd like to read a couple things, if I could, in recognition of the team. And I guess I'd just start by saying, ladies, we're so proud of you. I mean, it's just amazing what you all accomplished this year. We could not be more proud. So I'll begin with the fact that they are athletes, but they're also student athletes. And there's a reason why we say student first, right? Because they are. They're students first and athletes. And they're tremendous at both. And one of the things I'd asked Mr. Merrill to provide, and I appreciate it, Mr. Merrill, is the collective GPA of this team. And they are a 3.4 GPA team collectively. So they're pretty tremendous both on and off the court, as you can see. So let me also, if I could read this, like I said, they are in demand. We appreciate them being with us this evening, and we're grateful again for the opportunity to honor and celebrate what they accomplished this year. But they also have a confirmed an invitation to the Springfield Township Trustee Meeting on April 8th. They have a confirmed invitation to the Green Hills Village Council meeting on the 22nd of this month. They have a confirmed invitation to the State House in Columbus on the 9th of April next week. And finally, they have an invitation to Forest Park City Council. We're just waiting on the confirmation of the date. So, ladies, y'all earned this. And thank you for your high level of play and representing us in the highest of fashions, both, again, on and off the court. So I have a copy of the proclamation that they're going to read at the State House in Columbus. So that's something they're pretty excited about. And again, kudos to you. Y'all earned it. So we're here this evening to honor the Winton High School varsity girls basketball team, their head coach, Mr. Carlton Gray, assistant coaches, Mrs. Style Estelle, Mr. Landon Herman, Mr. Rasan Mack, Mr. Mike Reese, and Mr. Steve Sanders. Congratulations to the undefeated 27-0 Winton High School varsity girls basketball team and their coaches who won the Ohio High School Athletic Association, OHSAA, Division II state championship against the Anthony Wayne High School Generals on Friday, March 14th in Dayton, Ohio, scoring a 70-55 victory. On behalf of our students, families, staff, board, community, congratulations. We are so proud of you and your outstanding accomplishments. Will you please all come forward? So folks, we would love to present each of you with a certificate, and we'll assist in that. If y'all could just please line up. We also would love parent opportunities for photos and also for Waycross Community Media.
Yes, I don't know them. Yes, I'll hand them to you. Yeah. I'll hand them to you. How about we do this, raise your hand.
Okay.
Pass them out.
I need the certificate.
Oh, I see. All right, yes. Yes, and you'll hand them to me.
Yes, ma'am. All right, we'll begin with the coaching staff. And that's, first of all, head coach Carlton Gray. Next would be assistant coach Style Estelle. Assistant coach Landon Herman. Assistant coach Mike Reese. Assistant coach Steve Sanders. Now we'll go ahead and turn to the players. Very excited to announce Barry Blankenship. Okay. Sophia Kruver. Jamie Barnett. Ryan Davis. Sydney Davis. Whitley Davis. Jennifer Diak. Sham Farmer. Nyala Harmon. Skylar Kessler. That's okay. She wasn't able to be with us this evening. We'll make sure we get that to her. Bernice Lawson. Destiny Moore. Rakaya Prince. Michaela Reese. Ariana Thomas. Denia Trammell. And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the awards presentation. Ladies, please remain standing. We'd like to join you for a photo op if we could, ladies.
No, we understand. Y'all in demand.
Congratulations, congratulations. That's okay, we appreciate you stopping through.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you.
And Mr. Denny, just to piggyback on what you said, and I'm sure the rest of the board agrees, we appreciate all the hard work and dedication that those ladies have done, not just on the court, but off the court. To have a cumulative GPA of 3.4 is not easy, including practices, games, away games, home games, late nights, early mornings, things of that nature. So it speaks volumes to the caliber of students that we have here that not only are they excelling athletically, but they're absolutely excelling academically. And that's one thing that we pride ourselves on here at Winton Woods, that we're not just athletes, but we are student athletes. So thank you so much for the Lady Warriors joining us here today. Like I said, they're in much demand, and we look forward to traveling with them to the other recognitions as well. Mr. Denny, back to you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks again, Mr. Smith. For the next award on the agenda, we will go to several art gallery awards. This is all for South Campus. So we're incredibly proud of our young people's talents, athletics, academics, and then that will dwell on, of course, artistic talents as well. We'll begin with Winton Woods Primary South and their art gallery, which was held on March 6th, which was also the Night of Excellence for South Campus, which was a fantastic evening and a great event. We'll start with the honorable mention, and these were selected by administrator and teacher review. So the honorable mention would be to Drew Peterson. Are you here this evening, Drew? All right, we'll be sure to try to catch up with Drew later. So for Winton Woods Primary School, assistant principal selection, Asha Noreen Thompson. And Asha, if you want to turn to the camera and stay up here if you would, hon. There you go. And then Asha, who'd you bring with you this evening? Who came with you this evening? Okay, would you like to come up? Yeah, we'll do a photo op of that too. And there's Asha's art, which is amazing. Good job.
Miss Bryant, get in. Get one with Miss Bryant. Get one with Miss Bryant.
One more photo op.
Yeah, please.
Thanks, Mom.
Great job.
And Asha, if you would, I need to make sure I mention this. If you could leave that as you go out on the table, we'll make sure we get it framed for you, okay? With spring break, we weren't able to get them framed for this evening, but we'll make sure we take care of that, okay? All right. That goes true. That's true for all of our artists this evening. Next would be the principal selection for Winton Woods Primary South Art Gallery, and that award goes to Caleb Brown. And Miss Jordan can show the beautiful piece that Caleb did. That's pretty amazing for anyone, let alone first or second graders, so great job. And finally, they let me pick one too, which I'm so grateful for, but there's a superintendent selection, and that award winner this evening is Layla Bell. There's Layla's work. And it's all very well done and beautiful. So again, our kids' artistic talents are pretty tremendous. And again, we'll be sure to get all those framed and taken care of in short order. All right, moving on to Winton Woods Elementary School. Their art gallery was also held on the Night of Excellence, which was March 6th. We'll begin with the honorable mention selection, and that's Angelique Salas Morales. Thanks, Ms. Jordan.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wow.
Moving on to the assistant principal selection, Marlon Gervasio Camacho.
Wow.
It's beautiful. Let's use the two colors. She's got an eye for color. And come on up. Yeah, we'll do a photo with the parent as well. And then one with the board member. Thank you. For the principal selection for Winton Woods Elementary School, it is Oscar Gonzalez Espinoza. And there's Oscar's work,
Nice.
a beautiful piece. Got a couple photos, Oscar. All right. And Oscar, who'd you bring with you this evening, my friend? Who came with you? They can come up for a photo too, if they'd like. Wonderful. Okay. And one more with Miss Bryant, if we could.
Yes, come back, little brother and dad. You're like, nah. Get out there.
And finally, the Winton Woods Elementary School Superintendent selection is Jelena Peterson. Thanks, Ms. Jordan.
You're welcome.
Moving to the Winton Woods Intermediate School Art Gallery, also held on March 6th, the Night of Excellence. The Honorable Mention Art Award goes to Skylar Bradshaw. Beautiful use of color. Thank you, Ms. Jordan. The Assistant Principal Selection Award goes to Sophia Juarez Baltazar. There she is. Hey, thanks for being here.
Oh, wow.
And Sophia, who came with you this evening? Yeah, they can come up too. That'd be great.
Yeah, the mini warriors.
The principal selection for Winton Woods Intermediate School Art Gallery goes to Varangi Giri. Very pretty.
Yes, cupcakes anyhow.
Thanks, Ms. Jordan. And finally, the superintendent selection for the Winton Woods Intermediate School Art Gallery, Jordan Turner. Good choice. Thanks, Ms. Jordan. All right, again, congratulations to all of our award recipients. Great work, and the artistic talent's amazing. Next award and recognition on the agenda this evening is the Horace Mann Fine Arts Student of the Month Award. The Horace Mann Fine Arts Student of the Month Award is for students that exhibit the following criteria: maintaining an academic standard of 3.0 GPA or above in the previous quarter, showing respect for directors, fellow ensemble members, contest adjudicators, teachers, other students, and family, showing enthusiasm and a positive attitude, as well as a display of commitment to rehearsals, concerts, and personal skill development. Finally, demonstrating honesty, integrity, and having high moral character. The Horace Mann March 2025 Fine Arts Student of the Month Award goes to sophomore student who excels in band, choir, and drama with a 4.2 weighted GPA, Bella Vargas. And thank you, Mr. Armstead. He is pointing out that she has musical practice this evening, and we'll catch up with her later. But I would like to read this because it's pretty tremendous. Congrats to Bella Vargas, who is our Fine Arts Student of the Month. For the month of March, Bella is a strong musician who is in band, choir, a member of stage crew, and part of the high school musical. As you can see, she takes advantage of all things musical while keeping her grades at the top level in her academic subjects. She is also kind, caring, and respectful to all, and is a fine example of what it means to be a warrior. Congratulations, Bella. The next award this evening, or recognition, is the Kiwanis Characters Key Award this month for resourcefulness. So I'd like to ask Mr. Dave Bell, president of the Green Hills Forest Park Kiwanis chapter, to come forward and help present these awards, if you would, please. And while he's coming up, I'll read a little bit about the award. Students are selected for the Kiwanis Characters Key Resourcefulness Award based on the following description. Resourcefulness means pursuing and thinking beyond the barriers, recognizing new possibilities, seeking challenging, innovative, creative approaches, searching for new solutions to increase performance. The Kiwanis Characters Key Resourcefulness Award is sponsored by the Green Hills Forest Park Kiwanis Club, a partner of Winton City Schools. The student so recognized will receive a La Rosa's gift card as a part of this award. And the award this month goes to kindergarten student Tyler Graves Powell. If you'll stay here, we'd like to read some really nice things about you, and then we'll have some people join you, okay? This is from Mr. Bauer, your principal, and I believe we're represented this evening also by Ms. Stiles, who's here from the ECCC, Early Childhood Central Campus. Over the past 2 years, Tyler Graves Powell has been one of the greatest success stories we've seen at the ECCC. Since her first year as a preschooler, Tyler's been an incredibly hard worker, and she's grown as a learner, a classmate, and as a part of our school. Now, as a kindergartner, she is looked up to as a leader amongst her peers. She can often be seen leading and helping others and using calming strategies or helping them to solve problems or working on schoolwork and showing new friends around the school. She's even a reliable helper to her teachers, often being trusted with important tasks to help the classroom. We are thrilled to nominate her for this award and know that she is very deserving. Congratulations. And whoever came with you this evening, if they could also please come forward. Thank you. Congrats, thank you. The next award and recognition on the list is the Kiwanis Student of the Month Award. Again, this is sponsored by the Green Hills Forest Park Kiwanis Club, and this recipient also would receive a La Rosa's gift card as a part of this award and recognition. The March 2025 Student of the Month Award goes to junior student Kyle Schill. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Yes, he is also not able to be with us this evening, but I would like to again read this because it's a tremendous nomination. This comes from a high school counselor, Mr. Brad Tash, and he writes, Winton Woods is blessed to have so many amazing young people that it can be difficult sometimes to select just one to be Student of the Month. In this case, though, the choice was relatively easy. Kyle has distinguished himself as a top scholar in the school, and he has done so while being kind and humble as well. Kyle's grades have been nearly perfect throughout his, have been perfect throughout his time in high school, taking the most demanding course load we have to offer. Taking a closer look at all of Kyle's A grades, you will see that his lowest quarter grade all year is a 97%, and he has earned a 100% or better in some cases as a quarter grade, a whopping 16 times this school year alone. That level of dedication to excellence is indeed staggering. Speaking of being dedicated to excellence, the junior class just took the ACT last month. Several weeks before the test, I had offered an optional prep course during the Warrior Bell, and Kyle, of course, volunteered to join. The results recently were received, and Kyle received the highest score at Wentworth High School in recent memory, a 34 out of 36 possible points. Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Kyle really is the full package. On top of his academics, he's also a member of the marching band, competes on the golf team, plays in the orchestra pit for our musicals, and is also a Tri-M Music Honors Society student. The man is simply nonstop, and that's the quote, actually.
Yes.
Finally, I want to leave with these words from Mr. Schaefer, one of the teachers who recommended Kyle for this award. I think this sums it up. Kyle does not settle for just earning good grades, but strives to understand the why behind every concept. When he encounters a challenge, he asks thoughtful questions immediately and demonstrates a remarkable commitment to growth and learning. His responsibility, diligence, and curiosity have made him an exemplary student and truly deserving recipient of this month's recognition. If you all would please help me recognize Kyle. Thanks, Mr. Bell. We'll catch up with Kyle at another time.
Unbelievable. Fantastic.
We turn now to the next award on the recognition list this evening, and we're thrilled to be able to nominate or recognize someone, for the March 2025 Skyline Student Athlete of the Month Award. To be nominated for this award, students must have a 3.0 or higher GPA in the previous quarter. They have to show respect for coaches, teammates, officials, teachers, other students, and family, show a positive attitude and display enthusiasm, a commitment to practice, games, and personal skill development, demonstrate honesty, integrity by playing by the rules, and finally have high moral character. The award this month for the Skyline Student Athlete of the Month Award, and I forgot to mention, as you might imagine, the honoree would receive a Skyline Chili gift card as a part of the award. But the award this month goes to 12th grade student excelling in soccer, softball, and volleyball with a 3.75 GPA, Sydney Short. Sydney was unable to be with us this evening, but we'll just recognize her by reading this, and we'll try to catch up with her at another date. Sydney is the heartbeat of the team, writes Coach Sheena Gray, her softball coach. She constantly brings an infectious energy to the game. No matter the score or the situation, she hustles with relentless determination, setting the tone for everyone around her. As a natural leader, she has the incredible ability to inspire her teammates, always encouraging them to push beyond their limits and reach their full potential. Her positivity and warmth make her someone everyone can connect with, and she fosters strong, lasting relationships both on and off the field. Her ability to unite the team and lead by example makes her an irreplaceable asset to her squad. Congratulations again, Sydney Short. The next award on the list this evening is a teacher, actually, the Skyline Teacher of the Month for the month of March 2025. To be nominated for this award, teachers must demonstrate the following: excellence in the classroom by using instructional practices that support higher academic achievement, motivation by encouraging and motivating their students to surpass expectations academically and socially, leadership by having a positive attitude with students, parents, colleagues, and the community, creativity and imagination by demonstrating creativity in teaching and in ways that inspire students to learn, dedication by showing excellence in attendance, punctuality, and overall dependability, and finally, communication by communicating effectively to their classrooms, parents, colleagues, and beyond. The March 2025 Skyline Teacher of the Month from the Winton Woods Early Childhood Central Campus, Miss Carly Noble. And Miss Noble, if you'd hang out here, I'll get to brag on you for a little bit in public. And Miss Stiles, if you'd join us as well, that would be fantastic. Miss Noble is one of the many reasons why the ECCC is a great place to be. Carly is a very humble leader who has become a very key part of our school. Teachers and staff know that she's always there to offer a listening ear, a quick pep talk, or whatever support they might happen to need. While always being approachable, Carly Noble fights for what is right for her students, her peers, and our school as a family. Carly's not afraid to take on critical leadership roles and does so with passion and enthusiasm. Simply put, the ECCC is a better place because Carly Noble and the many amazing things she does are a part of it. We are thrilled to nominate her for Teacher of any month, but certainly here this month of March. Congratulations, Ms. Noble.
You're up next. Okay.
We will round this out by a couple more recognitions. Our wrestling team deserves some high honors and recognition, and then we'll wrap up with one last recognition as well for our boys basketball athletes. But we'll start with the OHSAA district qualifying Winton High School wrestlers. We are extremely proud and congratulate the following student athletes who qualified for the 2025 OHSAA, that's Ohio High School Athletic Association, district wrestling tournament. So that's advancing to the districts. So that's past the initial rounds and into the final rounds. So we'll begin with recognizing the girls' head coach for wrestling, Mr. Jerome Whitaker. And if you all would just remain here as we call up the rest of them, that would be fantastic. We'd also like to be sure we recognize assistant coach, Ms. Joy Austin. And she's unable to be here this evening, but we'll be sure we catch up with her. And now we turn to our student athletes. The first we'd like to recognize, advancing to districts, Lizzie Fitzgerald. The next district qualifier we're delighted to recognize this evening is Miss Amina Green. And finally, the last qualifier advancing to the district level for the Winton Woods High School girls wrestling team, Ari Zavala.
Real wrestlers, huh? To the team.
Congratulations.
Mr. Denny, if I can just ask one question of
Of
Coach
course.
Whitaker, please. Where did you get that jacket, sir?
I'm thinking the same thing, like, that's a nice jacket.
Here for about 12 years now, so I got it about 12 years ago.
Thank you. Hey, just point of reference, my size is an extra large. That's all I'm saying. Just to put that out there. Go ahead, Mr. Denny. Sorry to interrupt. Thank you.
Important point of order.
Important point.
Very nice, very nice. All right, we'll now turn to the boys wrestling qualifiers. These young men advanced again to the district qualifying level, so we're very proud of them. And we'd like to begin by recognizing their head coach, Mr. Rayshawn Armstead. We'd also like to be sure to recognize assistant head coaches, Mr. Marquis Harden, and Mr. Rasheen Jones. And now we turn to recognize our young men. We're very proud and want to congratulate. Also, I'll point out this particular student athlete was the recipient of the National Wrestling Coaches Association Character and Leadership All-American recognition.
Wow.
So that's a secondary honor that we're very proud of. Damian Culver. And finally, advancing to district qualifiers, we're thrilled to recognize Winton Woods High School boys wrestling team member Eric Morris Jr. Please. If you would, Mr. Armstrong, go ahead and, yeah, please. Thank you. That way Waycross can pick you up.
I just want to give a quick brag on my boys. This year, out of all the tournaments that we did, I think we did, about 8 tournaments. We averaged a team placement of the top 5 in every tournament. And we also had somebody place in every tournament. And Damian was one of the ones that placed in every single tournament this year. So, and it was a first year, and I don't know how long it's been, but I want to say about 7, 8 years that we brought a team trophy home. So we brought 2 of them this year, second place and first place.
Mr. Denny.
Thanks, Coach Armstrong, for sharing that. That's tremendous.
Mr. Denny,
Yes,
is
ma'am.
it possible for Mr. Whitaker to talk about the girls wrestling? Because I don't know how many schools have a girls wrestling team, but it's awesome. They did a wonderful job this year.
I would love to take a minute to talk about the girls wrestling team. So first of all, I'm honored to be a part of this, and I'm honored for you guys to allow me to be able to do what I do. But our girls wrestling team started off about 3 years ago with Mimi Green, our very first wrestler. She probably don't want me to say her name back there, but our very first girl wrestler, and literally won her first match of the year after being down 11-3. She came back to pin the boy, and it just changed her life. And I feel like from there, this program has really stepped up. I got great coaching staff. We're all one team. Coach Ghost, we all coach together. We're all one team. And I really wanted to say, my middle school girls have also, we had 11 middle school girls this year. They took second place. They were second in the city, first year team. And I'm ecstatic that we're going to have our teams grow next year. We'll be 11 high school girls strong, and we'll have at least 11 middle school girls. So thank you girls so much for all y'all do. It's a big deal. Thank you.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Coach Whitaker. Thank you. All right, finally this evening, we wrap up with a very special recognition. We are excited to have this evening our boys varsity high school basketball team. And we are so proud of you. We're going to call you up in just a moment, but I get to brag on you for a little bit. And we could not be more proud of what you accomplished this year. Back-to-back ECCC, excuse me, Eastern Cincinnati Conference champs. And we know the game that didn't turn out the way we wanted on any other given day could have turned out extremely different, and might be a totally different story. So we just hold you in the absolute highest regard, your coaching staff, you as young men, the way you carry yourselves, the way you represent our district, our school on and off the court is tremendous. I want to make sure I also point out that this team collectively has a 3.1 collective GPA, so congrats on that. Because you're athletes, but you're student athletes. And we're just very proud of you and all that you've accomplished on and off the court. So I'd like to read this if I could. Winton High School varsity boys basketball team, including head coach, Mr. Mike Pilgrim, assistant coaches, Mr. Stefan Briggins, Mr. Donnie Gillespie, Mr. Eddie Gray, and Mr. Marcus Harris. Congratulations to what you've accomplished this year, your record of 23-3, and their coaches who have also earned this title of 2025 Eastern Cincinnati Conference champion. And that's for the second year running because they captured that same title last year. OHSAA district champions, and finally, OHSAA regional runner-up champions. So we're just very proud of you, young men. Congratulations. If you all could please approach. We'll begin by reading the coaches first. If you all would come up and then just remain standing. Head coach, Mr. Mike Pilgrim. Assistant coach, Stefan Briggins. Done. Okay. Assistant coach, Mr. Eddie Gray. I'm going to recognize him. This assistant coach, Donnie Gillespie. Assistant Coach Marcus Harris. Team Scorekeeper, Mr. Bob Greenwald. Photographer, DeMonte McNair. Scorekeeper, Erica Packer. And statistician, Chantel Smith. And now we are excited to turn to the student athletes to recognize them. Igor Alou. Jair Crowley. Nate Dawson. Jakai DuBois. Cash Ingram. Brian Key Jr. Frank Latham. Jalen Mercer. Miles Moore. Chris Reed. Jace Ridgway. Romeo Thomas. Jaquan Walker. Imonte Wade. And we're excited to conclude with Christian Wilkins. We'd like to be able to join you for a photo op too, photo op with the team. Did you already get it, Drew? One more gentleman, one more. Thank you.
This concludes.
And board, that concludes the recognitions awards section for this evening.
Wow. Once again, a great round of applause for everyone who was recognized today. We know it's a lot of hard work, and we appreciate each and everything that you do. At this point in time, we have no public comments, so we're going to break for a recess for no longer than 5 minutes. Thank you. I know all those awards and recognitions got everybody hyped up into the warrior spirit.
Very exciting.
Along with the warrior spirit comes a little chattiness. So I'll let you guys go a little extra minute. I'm nice like that. All right. Moving on to 5.01, Winwood's Teachers Association. Do we have a representative from the WWTA here today? Seeing none, moving on to 502, Association of Public School Employees. Do we have an OPC representative with us here today? Seeing there's none, let's move on to 6.01, the waiving of the reading of the minutes. Board, a motion is in order.
Mr. President, I'd like to move we waive the reading of the minutes for the following meetings: the regular meeting on February 24th, 2025, and the regular meeting on March 10th, 2025.
I second that motion.
It has been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussions? Wonderful. Mr. Seymour, can you call for the vote?
Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes as presented. Board, a motion is in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any questions or discussion? Excuse me. Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, can you call for the vote?
Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
I will be abstaining from the 224 regular meeting since I wasn't here, but aye to the 310 regular meeting. Just for a matter of the minutes.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye to the meeting that was on February the 24th, and I was not present on March the 10th.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. It passes. Next on the agenda, Treasurer Report. 701, the financial statement for January 2025. Mr. Seymour, you have the floor.
Yes, Board, before you, you have the report for the month of February. The year-to-date revenues in the general fund were at $48.4 million. Our month-to-date revenues for general fund were at $13.3 million, which was real estate tax advances of approximately $10.7 and state foundation of $2 million. Also, on pages 3 and 4, you have the general fund expenditures by object and then function. For the month of February, the district expenditures were approximately $5 million, and total year-to-date expenditures are at $40.6 million. And we are currently running approximately 3.3% under budget, or approximately $2 million. On page 5, you see the unencumbered cash balance for all funds at the end of February of approximately $32.2 million for all funds.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, just a question. Last month, we were 1.8 million ahead, or 2% under, and I'm assuming the difference that we picked up is because of the significant workman's comp and benefits that occurred that month.
Right. And also the health savings account contributions for that month. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Now let the financial statements presented be filed for audit. Next on the agenda is the Treasurer's recommendation, 8.01, investment reports for February 2025. Mr. Seymour, you have the floor.
Yes, the approval for investments, you have before you investments of month of February for 2025. And on February 28th, there was approximately $32.2 million invested. General fund yielding $96,385, and our building funds yielding $13,209, for a total interest of $109,574. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Board, a motion is in order.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the investment report as presented.
I'll second that.
It has been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussions?
Just this number went down a little bit. That's the lowering interest rates?
The interest rate at Star Ohio has declined, yes.
I was gonna ask that. I always look at that one because it's normally over 5, and I'm like, it's 4.58.
Yeah, I was looking at that same thing.
It's down
Yeah.
to 4.58 now.
Yeah.
It was up as much as 5.5.
Mm.
But I will share with the board that we did decide to put $5 more million into with our investment portfolio to try and stabilize earnings over the next couple of years, because even though it might be a little bit less right now, you'll stabilize that in other investments as the prime goes down. We won't have it all in liquid CDs or just overnight savings. Star Ohio, when interest rates are rising is great, but when interest rates are declining, you want to try to stabilize that interest earnings out over 24. We targeted a 24-month investment plan.
And from what I read, they want to see them continue to drop, correct?
I think it will still continue to drop a little is what they're saying.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour.
Board, any other questions?
No.
Concerns? Mr. Seymour, can you call for the vote?
Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. Next on the agenda are reports from the superintendent. 9.01, school reports. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thanks, President Smith. Appreciate it. Good evening again, Board. We'll begin with 9.01, and it's the school reports, the events coming up over the next month that are noteworthy. And would certainly invite anyone that might be tuning in or watching this later to consider attending these. We'd start with the We Thrive Warrior Pantry that's coming up this week on Thursday. That's at the Forest Chapel Church, and that's 4:30 to 6:30. We also have one of the marquee events of the year coming up next week, and that is the high school spring musical. This year it is Disney's Little Mermaid, so it's going to be a great production. There are 3 shows, April 11, which is Friday, that's opening night, 8 p.m. at the Dave Bell Performing Arts Center. Saturday, April 12th at 8, and then the matinee on Sunday at 2 p.m. So it'd be a great show. Encourage everybody to come out and take that one in. We also have midterms coming up in terms of fourth quarter. It's hard to believe we're already in fourth quarter, but we are. Midterms would be Tuesday, April 22nd. And then we have the OMEA, that's Ohio Music Education Association Band and Choir Adjudication, coming up, location to be announced or to be determined. That's Friday, April 25th, and also into Saturday, the 26th, and we conclude with our next board meeting, which is the 28th of this coming month. That concludes the school report.
Thank you, Mr. Denny. Let's move on to 9.02, Student Achievement Report. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thanks again, Mr. Smith. This evening, 9.02, the Student Achievement Report content will be a PBIS, that is Positive Behavior Intervention Supports, and that will be brought to us by Ms. Tanya Bray, and she has a PowerPoint to share with the board and with our public as well.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to talk about PBIS at Winton City Schools. So positive behavior, positive results, and PBS in action. So what is PBIS? PBIS stands for Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports. PBIS is a research-based system that uses a positive approach to discipline. PBIS is also a framework used in schools to promote positive behavior and increase academic outcomes. And PBIS is designed to proactively teach and reinforce desirable behaviors, creating a positive school climate and culture. So what is the goal of PBIS? The overarching goal of PBIS is to create an environment where positive behavior is encouraged and all students, no matter their background, have the opportunity to succeed both academically and socially. So the framework of PBIS, the puzzle pieces that fit together to create this framework, systems, data, practices, outcomes, and equity. Systems. So the systems of PBIS supports the implementation of PBIS practices, meaning leadership teams, staff trainings, and response to our practices and protocols. Data. So the data, we use the data to monitor and guide decision-making. This information is informed to collect about student behavior, identify areas for improvement, and to inform decisions about interventions and next steps. The next puzzle piece is practices. So based on the research-based or evidence practices, this supports our desired behavioral outcomes, such as school-wide expectations, classroom rules expectations, district expectations, and to teach and reinforce positive behaviors throughout our schools and district. Outcomes is next. Outcomes are meaningful and culturally relevant outcomes, meaning positive changes in student behavior, social and emotional development, and improved academic performance when all of these pieces are in place. And equity is the last one that I included. And the reason being is because I work with students with various backgrounds. So equity, we want to make sure that there is a commitment to equitable implementation, meaning that we ensure that all students have equal access to quality learning experiences and positive behavior supports. So our structures to support PBIS, which is MTSS, which stands for Multi-Tiered Systems of Supports. So with our MTSS structure, there are two sides of this cone. We have an academic side and the behavioral side. So PBIS is the behavioral side. And when you look at the green, yellow, and red, the green means that all students have the opportunity to have the general knowledge and the supports of PBIS. This is for all students in all settings. The yellow area is about 5 to 10% of the student population, meaning that some students may be at risk, so there are a little more interventions that are put in place based on the data that we have researched and collected. And the red area means that it's that 1 to 5% of students that may need more intensive supports because our Tier 1 and our Tier 2 supports, for some reason, those students are not adhering or just not, applying what was taught to them. So in a more deeper look at the tiers of supports, this is just another way of reading it. So it talks about the Tier 1 levels, where Tier 1 is for all students. And there are some examples here that support Tier 1. Teaching school-wide positive behavior expectations, reinforcements for students, consistent consequences across the board, effective procedures and supervision, and so forth. Tier 2, again, this is for some students in that middle tier, which is that 15%. We have check-in, check-out, adult mentors, and these are just some examples. Taking a break for some students, some targeted social skills instruction, home school connections and plans where we have meetings to meet with parents and teachers and the administrators so that they can work together of what we do in the buildings. We can also work with the parent at home, so the language and the work is consistent, not just at school, but also at home. In Tier 3, that's for those, that 1 to 5% of students that receive this type of instruction for PBIS. So we may look at functional behavior assessments, which in our world, we call it an FBA. We also look at multi-component behavior plans. So just depending on the student and their needs, we may implement a plan or put a plan in place based on the team and that student's needs. In school-wide or school-based wraparound services, emergency intervention plans, and some intensive academic supports if needed. So at Winton Woods, I researched what does our Tier 3, 5% or less look like. So ECCC, as of a week before spring break, they had 18 students, which is about 4% of their population. South Campus had about 37 students, which is about 2% of their population. Middle school had 15 students, again, which is about 2% of their population. And the high school had 53 students, which is about 4% of their population, which means we are right aligned with what research says. We have that small percentage of students who are at that tier 3. So some of the steps to execute PBIS. So we established a leadership team. So we have a district-wide leadership team, and every school campus has a school-wide PBIS team. We define behavioral expectations. We teach the expectations. We monitor that progress by looking at the data. We reinforce positive behaviors through incentives and recognitions for students and for the adults. And then we evaluate and adjust. So depending on all of these things that we put in place, we look to see what's working, we look to see what's not working, and then we adjust our instruction. So the benefits of PBIS: it improves school culture and climate, it increases instructional time and student engagement, it improves social and emotional development, it improves school safety, it enhances teacher use of classroom management practices, and reduction of students who engage in behaviors and disruptions. So this is just some of the data. This is office referrals and bus referrals as of March 3rd, going back a couple of years. Last year was our first district-wide PBIS team that we consistently met on a monthly basis and reviewed the data and had procedures and practices in place district-wide to make sure that schools were implementing this structure. So 2022-23 school year, we had 3,856 referrals across the district. And last year, when we started this district-wide PBIS team, as you can see, the referrals decreased by almost 500 referrals. And then again, this current school year, we are on track to hopefully seeing that number still decrease.
And all three of these numbers would be based on the March 3rd date?
Correct. Correct. Are there any questions?
Well, one thing you did say is that it's, engages in for behavioral disruptions. But so there wasn't a statistic that you used, like with students who are with disabilities. Are they more prone to have in the PBIS program? I know it's for all students, but what's your population like?
Population for students with disabilities?
Like this number that you gave us, is that all the students across the board? And then there's no pull out for students, say, with disabilities who might have other issues with sitting still or like that?
Yes, that's all students across the board. And if they are students with disabilities, then depending on what their plan indicates, depends on how we structure their interventions moving forward. So it really depends on that specific student and what is in their individualized educational plan.
So in essence, you're saying that you kind of have an individual education plan for almost every student in order to implement this program?
Absolutely. So when we get together as a district-wide team, when we look at the data, we look at that population that may have more referrals than other students, and we look at it by building to see who those students are. And then when we look at it district-wide, what are the common themes across the district? What are the common themes in every building? It could be disruptions in the classroom. It could be fighting, and we look at the location. Where is this happening? Is it in the classroom? Is it lunchroom time? Is it in the hallways? Is it in a bathroom? So we look at all of that data to inform our decision-making to determine, how are we going to improve this district-wide, and how is each campus going to improve school-wide in their particular campus.
So do you ever drill it down to where, okay, here's, maybe these 10 students or 20 students really need a little more attention? And then
Yes.
that's when you start saying, this is
Yes.
what we're gonna do at lunchtime, instead this, or whatever, wherever you see they're
Correct.
going off
Correct.
the rails.
Yes, so that's where that tier 2 and tier 3 comes
Okay,
in.
that's where I'm
When
getting.
we
Okay.
look at those specific students to see if we need small group instruction for a small group of students that may need social skills. And then we look at that tier 3, we may be looking at individual students at that point, looking at functional behavior assessments to see if there's something deeper for a specific student.
But that's also, that data that you're looking at and kind of gathering at the end of the year and looking at, you're also using that to evaluate kind of what tier 1 supports are going to be really helpful too. Because
Absolutely.
some aren't necessarily needed, whereas
Correct.
others, if you're putting the time and attention behind it, might be more successful.
Right, so you're correct. So when we meet in our district-wide team meetings, we look at that information. So what supports do we need to keep? What are some that really didn't work and that we don't really need anymore? And then we look at other research-based practices that may work for us.
Just a quick question. For the ECCC, does this number include preschool and kindergarten?
Yes,
Okay. Such a hard age.
it
And they're
is.
trying to introduce everything.
It really is, yeah.
Thank you so much for this. Yeah.
You're welcome. So we have prepared a video of some of our PBIS district team leaders and just across the board what PBIS looks like at Winton Woods City Schools. This is just a small snapshot. Let me see if I can get this to work. I may need Drew. Sorry. I almost had it. It's on a roll.
There it goes.
PBIS is positive behavioral interventions and supports. It is a research-based approach to help students succeed in school. So it's a school-wide framework that aims to create a safe and positive learning environment.
Creating a positive climate at school that helps establish common expectations, how we teach students those expectations, how we acknowledge students for demonstrating those expectations in order to set the stage for students to be successful at school.
We define what PBIS is in each campus. We have a district-wide PBIS team that helps to put together that framework. So within that framework, we teach and encourage what those expectations for behaviors are on each campus and district-wide. We also monitor to see how that is implemented in each campus.
The kind of purpose of this is to kind of have an opportunity to look at data across the district. We do look at our PBIS data every month in each building in terms of our discipline data, our use of PBIS rewards.
And after that, we celebrate when students are doing well, when staff is encouraged. We have parties, just a plethora of things across the district to celebrate all the wonderful things and positive behaviors that are happening district-wide and in each campus.
If you're doing well in the class, the teacher can give you like points, which is PBIS.
By being respectful, responsible, trustworthy. PBIS makes me feel doing the right thing when no one's looking.
So PBIS is mostly about helping other students into being better people
people. So, for instance, I was kind of bad when I was little, and when I came to school, my teachers and stuff like that, we had PBIS, and PBIS helped for me to do extracurriculars like go outside.
I mean, I do like it. I look forward to getting them because when you get them, you get like points, and for events you need those points. So basically, like getting the kids trying to be busy.
Usually get a ticket if we do what we're supposed to do and listen to teacher.
PBIS helped me to learn how to be better, to get more points, so I can do things that they provide for us. It makes me want to be a better student, so I can get the most points as possible. I can do extra activities.
Any staff member at the school can assign students points. So any member of the front office staff, administration, teachers receive points through PBISR, which is PBIS. 9 points for students' positive behaviors. Students can use their points in a variety of ways. They can buy into giveaways. They can buy into incentives such as open gym or time outside, or maybe even for your cafe.
It improves social and emotional competence and improves academic success, because when behaviors are in check or in line, or there's a lot of positive culture going on, learning can happen in the classrooms and within the buildings. It also improves teachers' health and well-being, because when kids are happy, I'm sure teachers are happy. We would love our community members and parents to be involved in our PBIS exploration across the district. There are many ways that parents and community members can support our district in those efforts. They can volunteer for those celebrations. They can also help through our PTA. PTA does a lot to help with those positive supports in our school buildings. How to get in touch with someone to help with those efforts is to contact the principals. The principals are the #1 doorkeepers, so I would definitely look to contact your principal. And also we have a community engagement coordinator.
So the last part is to contact our community engagement coordinator, Drew Jackson, if people are interested in volunteering for our district. So that concludes my report. This report is informational.
I have a question.
Yes.
What makes up the leadership team?
So we have a number of stakeholders on that team. We have the superintendent, of course myself, we have administrators, teachers, PBIS coordinators, and we have other district leaders that just joined. We have food services director, we have the technology director now, we have transportation, and we also have HR in those meetings to help us inform our decisions, because PBIS just does not happen in the classrooms. It happens on the bus, it happens in the lunchroom, it happens everywhere in all the environments at Winton Woods.
So in the presentation, and I think that was key, that you said you want community members to get involved. Would there be an opportunity for community members to either engage or be involved with the leadership team?
Absolutely, they are our stakeholders. And it's nice that you say that, because doing more and more research, we need more different stakeholders, including community members and parents, to be a part of that team.
Gotcha. And so if they want to get involved, they just need to either reach out to our community engagement coordinator, Drew Jackson, or a principal?
Correct. I would say at this point, if they want to be engaged in our volunteerism and even our district-wide team, they can get in contact with either Drew Jackson or myself for that point. Okay. Because of background checks and so forth.
Gotcha, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely want to make sure we point people in the right direction to get that started, because I think that would be I think it would be critical to have some community engagement on the leadership team to get an outside look and an outside point of view, especially if it's parents.
Absolutely.
That can glean some
Help
information.
support
for
those
us.
efforts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Bray.
Thank
You're
you so
Great
much.
job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does this need to be plugged up?
Thank you, Mr. Denny, and thank you, Ms. Bray, for that presentation. Appreciate that. Next on the agenda is 9.03 Facilities Update. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thanks again, Mr. Smith. 9.03 Facilities Update. This report will be presented by Mr. Jeremy Day, Executive Director of Business Affairs.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming tonight. A couple updates here. We got a central office update. We have started the permitting process for the parking lot portion with Forest Park. We're trying to be strategic with this. We held off the bid process because we wanted to go to the permitting first, answer all their questions, find out what exactly they need. We've already met with them a couple times. But before we go out to bid and then there's questions, let's just get them out of the way. So that's the route we're going. So the bid process did get halted a little bit until we get permitting done, but I think ultimately it's gonna make it a much more smoother process ultimately. We also have asked SHP for a proposal on the central office renovation, the actual building renovation part, because I know you all are interested in the number that we're reaching for to be able to save for this, and without that proposal, it's kind of hard for them to give us a number. So they've got that proposal for us, and her team's getting ready to get going on that work for that part. Stadium fencing at this point is complete. It got done in about a week and a half. That actually is one of the biggest reasons why I'm glad we're doing the permitting first, to be honest with you. It wasn't just my call, it was also Allison McKenzie at SHP. So we're all learning this together as far as strategically how to go. But it did, once it got going, they got done in about a week and a half. Vendor did a great job. They were wonderful to work with. Looks really, really good. They did a really nice job with it. They really did. Baseball field, we do have that project coming. That's been kind of slowly going all year long. We actually looked in the fall to explore an artificial turf infield. That took a little bit of time to get going. Right now, I think that's a little unviable as far as cost. It was going to be upwards about $500,000. A lot of that's the base that it's not there. So it's not so much the pretty turf on top, it's underneath. So we backtracked. So the idea now is to completely regrade the infield, fix all the ponding problems that there are on the first base line that we've had for a number of years. We want to tear out the existing dugouts, replace those. We want to take out the existing backstop and foul line fencing, replace with the black vinyl coated fencing like we did at the stadium to match that. The backstop will be upwards of 30 feet though. So there's also going to be some permitting there as well, just because of the size of that fencing. We're going to be meeting on site with the scoreboard vendor too next week to discuss if there's any kind of scoreboard options. We haven't had a scoreboard there in all my 20 plus years. So I think it's been about 40 years, it just never has been there. The question got raised, so we're gonna answer the question, see what we can do. So, and then since we're on the championship state of mind here, on the interior of the stadium, on the athletic building, we're gonna mount some state championship signs, is what they're going to be. We haven't gotten the actual prints back yet, but there's not many districts, I don't think they can say that they have 8 state championships among the communities. And I don't want to quiz you guys, I'm just gonna tell you what they are, just so you know, but it's pretty impressive, I think. 1956 Green Hills Baseball, which was pretty cool. 1986 was Green Hills Cross Country. 1984, you had the girls basketball team, Forest Park. 1988 and 89, the Forest Park boys track team won state. 2009, Winton Woods football. 2021, Winton Woods football, and 2025, Winton Woods girls basketball. So those are the state championships. We also think it's a very, very big deal to have runner-ups, which we've got 3 of those, 2 in our history. So we had in 1977, Green Hills boys cross country, 2002 boys basketball, and in 2017, Winton Woods football. As we're looking around the stadium, there's a lot of history that we have in all of our communities that we need to highlight. So that's kind of the beginning part of this process. When we start getting some prints, I'll get those to Mr. Denny so you guys can kind of see what we're thinking as far as the way they look. I think there'll be a pretty nice update to the athletic building, though.
So indoor, outdoor kind
Outdoor.
of sign?
Outdoor, yes. The idea is, and they're gonna be mounted near the home locker room. So the idea is both home and away is going to see it. It's almost more the away, the visitors. You know, just because they wouldn't understand Green Hills and Forest Park. They wouldn't get it. You know, we do. We need to showcase it more for ourselves. But I think it'd be cool for visitors to have that, like, wow, they got 11. I don't know, it's pretty impressive, I think. I don't think a lot of schools have that, so I think we need to showcase it. So, is there any other questions?
No questions, just thank you, because you did hit on a number of things that the community has been kind of concerned about. Number one being the baseball field.
Yeah.
And so those of you who have been asking, if you can come up with that 500,000, we'd be more than happy to put some turf down.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Absolutely.
Is there any way for us to get funds from like a local business in the area? This is a plea if you want to donate. Is there a business that would be willing to help out with some of that cost? Because it is something we do hear from the community, the baseball fields, and we know we've got great academics, we're developing our things, we're trying to improve. We would love to give students the opportunity to play baseball and softball and have the fields that kind of mirror what we have for the football and basketball and other sports. So,
Yeah. I feel pretty confident in our ability to do the second option, the artificial turf. It's a pretty high dollar amount. I would almost say it surely would have to be a donation type situation. I feel pretty confident though in our plan for the second one, and it's going to be a pretty big upgrade to the state, to the baseball field. It really will be. The fencing alone, the places that we've seen, that we've kind of toured, it's pretty impressive when you've got the type of fencing that they have. We've already got some signage out there, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Driving by the middle school, you'll see the old windscreen that we had on the stadium. It's there now. It's kind of a nice little update, you know, when you wait for people coming in. But then the dugouts will be a nice touch. It's going to turn out being really, really nice. It just takes a process to get there. So.
I appreciate the update, and I think it's reassuring because I know that, you know, being a community member, you do hear things and it's easy to jump on that bandwagon when you don't know the historical information, or, you know, there may already be a reason why we don't have a scoreboard. So the fact that we're exploring that and trying to find out why there wasn't, and if it's a possibility, I mean, that's just reassuring to me as a board member to know that we're looking into it and we're gonna, you know, answer the questions, and that an upgrade has been in plan, you know, and that we have been working on that. And I think that's some bits of information that not always the community knows, but it's just reassuring to hear that. So I appreciate you bringing the information forward and just kind of giving us an update. You know, I know that I am thankful for the facility updates because, you know, if I don't hear from you, I tend to look on community pages and things like that, and people don't always give the right information. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate when things come up to you guys because they won't necessarily be coming to me.
Yeah.
So when they come to you guys or when you see something, I really appreciate the communication you've got with Mr. Denny. He gets it right to me. It seems like it's been pretty responsive so far. I appreciate that part anyway.
You mentioned the mural or the graphic that used to be on the fence. Is that being put on the new fence, or is that being used somewhere else?
Right now, it's being used at the baseball field. Right now it is. We are going to look into getting quotes. I've already gotten a couple. I'm out there getting quotes right now from a couple of vendors on what it would take. There's a couple different options. Some might be a little scarier than others, to be honest with you. If we did the current 6-foot-high type windscreen, obviously it wouldn't cover top to bottom, but it would get the middle section. I don't know that that would be a problem with putting that up because we already have it. You know, it's something that we continually do. We would probably want to buy a new one. It's been quite a few years since the other one was bought. If you wanted to go the option of doing a 10-foot-high, which I'm getting a quote for now, I would assure you it's going to be a city question already with some of the questions we got with the permitting already. I am getting that quote. just so you guys can see a price. I don't know what that price would be yet for a 10-foot all the way around.
Was the graphic on the fence part of it?
What's that? Sorry.
In the original permit, was a graphic
No.
part of the fence?
No, it was not.
So it would be a
It's just the
separate
fence, yeah.
request.
Although if we did a 6-foot high, it's what we've had.
Right.
So we're not really changing anything there.
It's much easier to stay with what you had.
Yes.
Good for city approvals.
Yes, exactly, yes, yes. But we are looking into the options though, because I know you guys are interested in it, so I'm looking into those options.
And the new fence does look nice. I did drive by it, and I actually walked inside just to kind of take a look, and they did a really nice job.
They did.
I'm very happy with it.
Yeah.
My last question is, seating at the baseball field. Are we going to address that?
Part of the redo behind the backstop's going to be a concrete pad going all the way around from visitor to home to accommodate more seating, because right now there's barely anything there.
Correct.
So there is going to be that concrete pad. That's also going to be built into the dugouts as well. So it's quite a bit of concrete going through there, but most of it's for seating, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Not built in like concrete seats, but it'll be for bleachers that could be on the pads.
Gotcha. And then, and I'm not trying to belabor the baseball question, but since we're already here, some sort of, we'll call it public address system to make announcements at the game, things of that. We've never had that.
No.
So if we're looking at it, let's look at everything and look what our possibilities are, because I don't want to spend a lot of money and then somebody come back and like, well, why didn't you think of this? So, you know,
Yeah.
we don't need a full-blown press box with nothing like that. I mean, it could be even integrated into the football field. I don't know. But we need to ask the question, and we need to get somebody out there to look at it to see what it would cost, because I don't want to have this brand-new stadium and we're hosting a home game and we got to yell at people to tell them who's on first and who's on second.
That's true. Good point. Good question. I can look into it.
That's a good point.
There goes Brandon, blowing up the budget again. I know, right? You're welcome. I'll find the money somewhere.
Again,
Thank you, Mr.
if you want to
All right.
donate,
Oh, I'm going after them donations. Y'all know me. I'm going to go after them hard.
All right. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Day.
Thanks, Mr. Day.
Next on the agenda is 9.04, first read, revised board policy. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thank you again, President Smith. Board, you should have before you a number of policies. This would be a second read, and this is I apologize. This is a first read. This is the second half of the fall update. So you should also have the update overview, or the Cliff Notes version, as we sometimes affectionately refer to it. But these would be presented to you for first read and consideration, and then next month, for the month of April, we'd go to the second read and request your favorable approval, hopefully at that point. Just information for now.
Thank you, Mr. Denny. Board, let's continue to read through these policies at your convenience so we can stay on top of these policies for the next agenda item. All right, here we are. Moving on to 10.01, personnel schedules. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thank you again, Mr. Smith. Board, 10.01 personnel schedules. There should be Schedule A, B, C, D, and E before you, and the recommended action would be to approve the personnel schedules as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Denny. Board, a motion is in order.
Mr. President, I move we approve the personnel schedules as presented.
I'll second that.
It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussions?
Members of the board, I would just like to bring to your attention a last-minute couple of changes that Mr. Denny alerted me to. I think one of the board members brought it to their attention, or his attention. One is that we had to change the building for Mr. Lumpkin. Someone noted that we had it ECC when he actually works out of the community building. That's on Schedule C. There was another change to Schedule D. We had inadvertently left off the JV part of the Jordan Hopgood, who's one of our coaches. We left off JV and inadvertently listed that person as a assistant varsity coach. So that should be a Group 5 and not a Group 6. And then I understand there were some questions about another coach that was put on for basketball on Schedule D. That person has coached the whole season, but just was not board approved with the other coaches. He's new to the district, And he didn't say anything to us because in his prior coaching position in another district, he said they always got paid at the end of the season. So he just thought it was normal to get paid at the end of the season. And so he was like, hey, where's my money? And we're like, what are you talking about? So he should have been at it when the other coaches were. So his name will appear on Schedule D. So hopefully.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Board, anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I have one other question. I was the one that brought up the question about the JV coach being, but there's also in the schedule, which we'll approve later, pole vault coach for boys and girls. Is that not a position now?
Yeah, so we have several positions that haven't been filled, just because we don't always have someone available. But as the athletic director finds people and locates people, then we'll board. And some people are working towards their pupil activity permit, which takes, you have to do a lot of coursework in order to get your permit. So sometimes they're not ready in time. So you may see that person's name next month.
Okay, that's fine. I just trying to understand the
Yeah.
schedule.
That's a good question. Thank you.
I do just have a question for clarification. So on Schedule B, there's an employee listed for renewal from interim to permanent. They were interim for, was it last school year to this beginning of the year?
So this would be, so this person was interim last year for this school year.
Okay.
And then, and had a one-year contract, which is expiring. So we're renewing that person's contract for the following school year, and we're giving
Is it
them a
permanent?
2-year contract.
Okay.
And taking interim off. They did a good job.
Thank you.
There was another issue with Mr. Lumpkin. I think on your draft, a draft that you might have seen earlier, it had interim on there still. And we've since interviewed and selected him, so he would be the permanent replacement for truancy and would be offered a 2-year, you'd be approving a 2-year contract for him.
So he would be, he would be the fourth?
Third.
Third, okay.
Right, and when it was, at one point, he was interim for a small period of time, and then, so in August, he will become, what you're voting on tonight, if approved, he would become our third truancy officer without the interim on his name. So it was posted, and we selected him.
Just one question, I mean, it's relevant to this, but not to him specifically. The truancy officers, are they assigned like different age groups? Is that the way they're assigned? Pretty much, yeah, buildings?
Yeah, so currently they divide the labor, but they can cover for each other at any time. But the way that it's designed, I think on our report card, the ECC was a issue for us, their attendance, and it's one of the areas that I don't think with our existing staff, we had enough manpower to cover, you know, to give a whole lot of attention to. And so I know that that's gonna be a focus, and then also middle school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the way it's currently divided, Dr. Johnson, I appreciate the question. It's a good question. South Campus is Mr. Campbell. High school is Ms. Mahan. And the ECCC in middle school will be Mr. Lumpkin's assigned responsibilities. And that'll allow them to just focus on those areas.
Sure, and then if somebody is out, they just sort of pitch it for each other.
Yes, exactly. Court hearings, what have you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, very good.
With the ECCC, when you have kids that are tardy, I mean, it's really not the child, it's the parent.
Right.
Or the grandparent, or the caregiver that's really truant.
Yep. So home visits become a pretty integral part of that and making those types of outreaches to families.
Okay.
And that's part of what we feel this will really be a big value add for, is those types of interventions.
Just so those caregivers understand the ramifications of of their decisions.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a quick question about the truancy position that just triggered something. With kindergarten not being required, preschool not being required, are we still doing that service because of attendance purposes and everything?
So the state still measures you. If you have it, they measure it.
That's what I was thinking, so.
And they will hold you accountable for
Okay,
it.
okay.
And we learned that
The hard way.
the hard way last year.
We
I
don't
think-
fund it, but we're gonna hold you accountable if
Right.
you have it.
That is
That's how-
absolutely accurate.
Yeah, that's how it was when I worked at Head Start. so
Yeah, and you're only required to have half-day kindergarten, not full-day kindergarten.
Sure.
But that's measured, because we have all day, it's measured against all day. And again, the state does hours, not days. So you're measured for the days that you're in session, or excuse me, the hours that you're in session.
And this seems like a silly question. The renewal, contracts for renewal, are these 2-year renewals, 3-year renewal, 2?
2-year renewals.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, Mr. Seymour, can you call for the vote?
Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. That vote passes unanimous. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda
Thank you.
is
Thank you.
supplemental salary schedule. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, and thank you, Ms. Wilson. Board 10.02 should have before you the supplemental salary schedule, which would be effective this year. This is a modification to the schedule. The changes or additions to this particular schedule in this case would be for flag football, a newly added sport. So it's actually a club sport for this year, will be a full sport for next year, and it's also full sport with the OHSAA. But you should see before you, in addition of an assistant flag football coach and a head flag football coach for our girls.
Where's the head?
I'm looking forward to, Mr. Spielman.
I just found the one.
I want to say it's group 5, but let's see.
The assistant coach is group 7,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and the other one
Oh,
is group
it's
6.
Group 6, yeah.
Group
there it
6,
is.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Knighton.
Sure.
Yeah, high school girls varsity flag football coach. It's about halfway down group 6.
Motion is in order.
Sorry.
That's all.
I'm sorry, Board. I should have said the recommended action is to approve the salary schedule as presented. Apologies.
I move we approve the supplemental salary schedule effective August 1st, 2024 as presented.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion?
Yes. Shouldn't this be dated March 31st, or will be after we approve it? Because this has the same date as the previous one, but we've added 2 positions to it.
So you wanted to say effective March 31st, 2025?
Yeah.
Instead of effective August
Because
1st?
The reason
otherwise you put-
the reason it's dated August 1st of '24 is because you're only adding a title. We haven't had them in that position yet, so we backdate it for this school year.
Okay.
And then you will approve one, you won't approve one until they have a change in title.
Okay.
So this really is driven, this salary is driven by the teacher's salary schedule that you adopt, and it has a supplemental schedule to it, and each level, you saw the levels, is tied to the base of the teacher's salary schedule.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So the groups, group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, have already been established. Those
Right.
amounts are already established. We're just adding
Right.
a person to that group.
Yeah. And then at some point, number 5 in group 1 will go away. Is that correct? Probably the end of the year.
What do you mean?
Yeah, we were going to leave it in place just to see if there were possibly other ways to fund it,
Okay.
outside the general fund, outside the district's
Okay.
revenue streams.
Really, you're just approving titles here. You're not approving the actual dollar
Positions.
amount that's tied to it, if that makes better sense.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
But I get your question, Mr. Spielman. I appreciate the question.
Any further discussion?
No.
Mr. Seymour, can you call for the vote?
Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye, that vote passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is 10.03, psychologist and nurse salary schedule. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thank you again, Mr. Smith. Board, you should have before you two salary schedules, both effective at the beginning of the school year. We just want to be sure that we brought this to the board. Psychologist salary schedule, and then the salary schedule for the non-degreed school nurses, which we have, I believe, one degreed school nurse, and the others are non-degreed or county contractors. I think we still have two. Sorry. We do have two county contracted nurses. Yeah, but the rest are district employed. Thank you. So board, the recommendation would be to approve the psychologist salary schedule and the nurse salary schedule effective at the start of this particular contract year, August 1, 2024, as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Denny. Board, a motion is in order.
I recommend that we approve the psychologist salary schedule and the nurse salary schedule effective August 1st, 2024, as presented.
I'll
second.
second. Go ahead.
Dr.
You got it.
Who's taking the, Dr. Johnson or?
Oh, okay.
Dr. Johnson will say.
Okay.
I love the enthusiasm, ladies and gentlemen. This is wonderful.
Yes.
Let's jump in there.
Do we have any discussion?
The only thing I did want to make a note of is, I noticed that on our attachment, it says nurse non-degreed salary schedule, but when you open it up to print it out, it doesn't say that. We might want to add those words in there because it does make a difference, because somebody originally will look at this and say, what? You know, it's a different.
Oh, it just says nurse?
It just says nurse.
does.
It doesn't say non-degree, but in our attachment, it says it.
Non-degree. And thank
Right.
you for that, because I looked at the salaries as a nurse. I'm like, oh, what? Who's
They may
working?
have a degree, but they're not certified by the state of Ohio. Courtney could probably help.
So is it the
The
certification?
nurse is, only one nurse, we only have one nurse that's certified by ODE, Ohio Department of
So,
Education.
okay, explain. I mean,
Um,
is it the school nurse certification that they take, or is it something different? Because
I'll let,
I know
I'll
things
let
have changed
Mrs.
since I was a
Wilson
school
answer-
nurse, so I
Ms.
wanted to
Wilson
just make
answer
sure I'm
that.
clear. Because I'm looking at the salary and I'm like,
Because we
The
can have
school
a
nurse
nurse, or we can have a
certification
nurse.
requires a degree,
yes.
and it's licensed through ODE currently.
Yeah.
And they are part of our teacher's contract.
Okay.
Our non-degreed nurses have their separate salary schedule, which is the one that I think you all are referencing. And it's for non-degreed nurses who are not school nurses.
So to be a nurse, you have to have a degree, either associate, bachelor's, master's, or doctorate. So all of them have to be degreed at some level.
Right.
So I guess using the term nurse, they can't be non-degreed and be a nurse. So what are we using?
Non-bachelors.
Not, so, okay, so we may want to
Non-bachelors.
clarify that.
Yeah.
To make sure it says non-BSN nurse.
Okay.
Because if they're nurses and with associate, are you considering them, they're just the non-bachelor nurses?
And they're not part of our teachers union because
Okay.
they're not regulated by ODE.
Okay,
They're hired as, they pay into a completely different retirement
Okay.
system.
But they may have a degree, am I correct?
if they have an associate's degree, nursing's where we all take the same state board, no matter when you graduate, no matter what degree, you take the same state board by the Ohio Department of Nursing. So, Board of Nursing, so you can be a nurse, an RN, same RN, with a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or an associate degree, and you still are RN with the same scope of practice. So I'm not sure how ODE is defining.
But ODE requires additional licensure.
Yes, the
that
school
not
nurse
all of
certification.
our nurses
Got it.
are eligible for because of their
If
college
they don't have a bachelor's
degrees.
degree, you can't sit
Yes.
for it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the question I had. So you're not eligible to sit for the ODE
Correct.
certification without having the BSN?
Correct.
Or higher. So if we could just clarify that, just for our records, and for the public, and for nurses like me, that I'm like, wait a minute, what? So, yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
we should just say nurse's salary schedule and not non-degreed, right?
Well, this isn't the
Well-
salary schedule for someone that has the certification, correct? This
Yeah.
is only
We-
for someone with the
We
bachelor's
can fix
of
it. I know exactly what you're saying.
Okay.
We can get the wording right. So you want to make a distinction between an ODE licensed nurse
Yes.
and a non-ODE licensed nurse who
Yes.
has state board licensure,
Correct.
but not ODE licensure. Okay,
Yeah.
we can fix that.
I had the same question when I seen it. I was like, because to your point, nurses all pass the same NCLEX. I don't care if it's a 2-year, 4-year, or a master's level. They all take the same grueling test, and that takes 6 or 8 hours to take. And they all have to pass all 4 sections of it, and they all have to score a certain level, on that test. So 2-year, 4-year master's degree, it doesn't matter. They all take the same test, but the pay is different, based on, where they are, whether they're 2-year, 4-year, or master's level.
Only in school. Rest of the people know you get paid the same.
Right, yes, well, yeah, well, I'm
It makes no
academic,
sense
so
in
it makes a
nursing, but-
difference in academics, that's when it makes
Yeah.
a difference, absolutely. You're absolutely right. But
Thank you for
anyway,
that.
I looked at that too, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, and the big issue for Mr. Seymour is it makes a difference for retirement purposes. So it's 2 different retirement systems.
Yes, one is what, state teachers, and one is SCRS, right, exactly.
So from my understanding, Courtney, should it just not say non-degreed, it should say something else, or? We've
Maybe
had it that way for
ODE.
years.
ODE degree or
We
something?
can
We
put certified
can
or
put
something.
school nurse, because one is a licensed school nurse. We can talk about it offline if you'd like, but we'll get you a couple of scenarios, and Mr. Denny can maybe talk to you in a work session. But
So-
I think we can be creative with the wording.
So it's really the BSN that they have to have, and then the certificate.
So for now, the actual title on the salary schedule is okay. It's the description in the agenda that's different, that's wrong, right?
Correct.
That's why.
It's the name of the file, it's the title of the file itself.
The file is
It's
named
fine.
wrong. Randy's file's named wrong, but the actual salary schedule looks fine,
Oh, salary
right?
schedule's fine, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I had a
yeah.
question
Yeah,
about
here it
the
is.
name, the title, that's what my question. And I think that was your question too, Deborah.
Yes.
The title, because I was thinking the same thing she's thinking. As far as,
Randy was like,
testing.
Randy's not wrong.
No, absolutely
Randy's not wrong
No.
here.
It's
okay?
just
No,
that
I'm
she
just
just
trying to
says
figure
nurse.
out what you want me to change, what needs changed.
He just needs to figure out what he needs to change.
And things change so quickly, like and the titles change, so thank you guys for the clarification. It's like,
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
what used to
Thanks,
be is
Ms.
not what it
Yes, you're
You
welcome.
know,
Thank
I'm
you.
old and it's been this way for 13 years, so I want to do it correctly, so.
Yeah, I get it.
I wouldn't know the difference.
It's the, you know what it is? It's the pupil service licensure, the ODE. So I think that's the terminology that we need to use, is the pupil service licensure. So it's the BSN and the pupil service license.
The file content, the public file content, this just needs to be, say, nurse salary schedule and not non-degreed, basically, right? In the agenda?
Yeah, we should
Yes
change the
and no,
title of that
because there's
file.
a different, this is not the complete nursing salary, correct? There's a different salary schedule for people that have the certification.
Yes.
They're on the teacher's salary schedule.
So if you just say nurse salary schedule, from a public person, I'm gonna think this is what the nurses make, so you do need to distinguish it though, somehow.
Right now, we're just distinguishing the fact that if you're certified through ODE, you're part of WWTA's
Correct.
and the collective bargaining agreement.
Correct. And so
you're
this just says
compensated
nurse,
as
so.
teachers.
These
Sorry.
people are in SERS. ODE certified nurse is in a state teacher's retirement system. That's the distinguishing.
Correct, so maybe just put that nurse whatever you just said. Certified.
Non-certified?
She gets me. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
So can we still vote on this, or do we
Yeah,
want
it's
to?
not, the salary is not what's in question.
Yeah, no. we're
Okay,
good there.
I'm just,
Yeah,
well,
it's
y'all
just
got
a
a lot of,
title.
y'all got a lot of questions. I want to make sure y'all
I'm
good
learning a
first.
lot, because I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, I'm not a
I
nurse,
didn't
nor
know the
have ever been, nor do I
distinction.
ever want to be one.
I'm
So
not
I-
either.
Salary
I'm
schedule is
academic.
fine, the
That's
file
what I-
description is incorrect.
All right, so
Okay.
y'all know what y'all need to do
Right.
to fix it, right?
Exactly. It's not
We'll
the
take care of
salary.
it.
Okay,
Yeah,
wonderful.
Yeah,
We'll get it
no,
right.
thank you guys, and thank you guys for the discussion and answering our questions.
Absolutely, thank you.
Seeing no more discussion,
Okay.
Ms. Seymour Caldwell.
Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
Hi.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye, that vote passes unanimously. Next on the agenda, 10.04, approval of job description, career-based learning, and career technical education coordinator, Superintendent Denny. You have the floor.
Thanks again, Mr. Smith. So, Board, you should have before you a job description and just a little bit of background or context for this. There's an increasing emphasis in all districts in the state of Ohio, and it's really been advanced by the governor's office, by the Department of Education, and they changed their name to that point, right? They're now the Department of not only just education, but education and workforce. This is in no way, shape, or form intended to bypass, sidestep, or diminish college preparedness. College preparedness is a goal for every one of our students. We want them to be prepared to enter college and then make choices. We don't want them to have a door closed to them that they might otherwise have open simply because of their readiness. So that's indeed our goal for all kids. The function of this particular new position would be to, it's actually got quite a few different directives, but one of the main reasons of its existence is to develop relationships with businesses, both locally and in our region, to develop partnerships with them for career opportunities for our kids, for career exploration, for internships, for apprenticeships, for job shadowing opportunities, for experienceships, and also to help shepherd through requirements from the state, which are, this is a great requirement, that every student in grades 6 through 12 has a career readiness plan, that every child in grades 6 through 12 has a success plan, that every child in grades 6 through 12 has a graduation plan. And if you're not on track to graduate, we're going to try to intervene with you as early as possible. So there's a lot of connections to a lot of different work, but it starts really as young as kindergarten, and it's exploring options as a career for young people. So, Board, you have before you a job description for a position in our district that would do just this. This position is funded through a combination of state grants, federal grants, and local general fund dollars. So the recommendation would be to approve the job description for a career-based learning and career technical education, or CTE, coordinator as presented.
Board, a motion is in order.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the job description, career-based learning and career technical education coordinator as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I just have a comment. I think this is such an important and pivotal position for our district to make sure that all of our warriors have an opportunity to thrive however that looks for them, and to have someone that can bridge the gap between sort of industry and education is so important. So it's exciting.
Yeah, very well said.
Yeah, one other thing I want to point out is that he did say that it starts, it's required to start like 7 through 12 or at the 6th grade level, but they are looking at doing it all the way down to the elementary school level. And this is a line item that will be measured on the report card, you know, as far as career readiness. So it's important to probably put somebody in place that can focus solely on that type of work. I don't know, is it going on for the this year, 24-25, or is it 25-26?
25-26.
25-26.
Yeah, but we'll-
So that's going to be a measurement on the report card. So it's going to be important to have somebody, you know, that's going to be focusing. Or is it this year?
I misspoke, Dr. Johnson.
Is
I'm
it
sorry.
24-25?
I misinterpreted the question. So initially, the state has said that 24-25, this school year, would be
Okay.
the first year that it would report. So we wouldn't get the report out until
25-26.
25-26.
But they're going to start counting this on
Yes.
that this
Now-
year?
Yes, ma'am. Now,
That's-
lately,
that's-
they have waffled,
Right.
but then they waffled back. So I'm not sure exactly where this is going to land. We've heard two different things within the last couple of weeks.
Right.
That they were going to pause and pump the brakes and make it 25-26 first reportable year. But up till this point, that's not what they've said. And then they've kind of said, well,
Right.
no, we're going to go back and go ahead and approve it.
So
I'm sorry it's such a complicated
Yeah,
answer, but
it's okay,
gone
because
back and
I
forth.
was wondering, I was trying to find the exact date
Yeah.
that it was going to be measured on the report card. Other thing that, you know, when I was originally reading this, I thought, wait a minute, isn't that what the Oaks does? But I really think that what we're going to be doing will be strengthening the relationship as our students move forward into getting closer to, because they'll be able to make a more informed decision as to whether they're, you know, interested in like career tech or college or, you know, just going into the workforce, and actually getting them to start focusing and thinking about that so early on makes a big difference.
Because I think
you know?
that is what the Oaks is for,
Yeah.
but I think capturing that earlier.
Right, they don't catch it until like, whatever, 11th
Yeah,
to 12th
more
grade,
like
10th, 11th, 12th grade.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be looking at it earlier and kind of, you know, like saying, if you're interested in this, maybe you should try this or try that. And, you know, even, we might even see some of their, you know, projects based at the Night of Excellence start looking more like what they're, I mean, you know, I could kind of see that as, you know, kind of how it would bridge, you know, because they're now thinking about, oh, maybe I want to be a nurse. And then they'll start looking at things that have to do with medical or biology or whatever. And that's because a person like this is in a position to, you know, guide them that way. So I completely support this. I just wanted to add that caveat. One, it's going to be measured, and we need somebody to start helping us monitor it and getting the students in that frame of mind thinking. And two, I think it's going to strengthen our relationship with the Oaks as our students get closer to that point.
I agree, but I think also sometimes we don't even, we separate either it's career or college, and it's so
Doesn't
much
have to be.
both.
Yeah, doesn't have
That, you know, even as you're going into college, you're still thinking, you know, future forward, this is what my career is gonna be, and what's my major gonna be, and what classes am I gonna take, and what am I interested in, and, you know, I know both my kids going into college, they were still like, career-wise, what do I really want to do, you know, and still trying to put those puzzle pieces together. So I think it's just absolutely critical that, you know, we bridge those gaps for kids, and whether it be technical, you know, classes or just some other exploration like internships and things, which I think this is really going to focus on partnering with, you know, community partners and things like that, is working on different externships and internships and, you know, opportunities for partnership and mentors. I mean, I think that's really the part that where we're gonna get right, you know, is that, hey, this is a field that you're gonna like going into, because I've spent a couple days, you know, shadowing somebody, and I really like this work, and it's interesting to me, and, you know, that kind of thing. I think that's where we're gonna hit it on the head, I think.
Yeah, all of the above,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah.
I also think that we have to kind of reframe what we think, because it's all education. They're all learning, and we're the business of education. So it's not always about degree seeking. And I think maybe just redefining that it's not, this is just as important. So you're going into the workforce to learn and get educated on a trade. I'm not a plumber, and most people that I know don't like plumbing, right? But the people that do that, they're educated on everything to do with plumbing they can install in your house or, you know, in big stadiums. That's a skill set, and that you need knowledge for that skill set. So whether it's a degree or not, it's just equally important. And I know that a lot of the industries have talked about how hard it is to find people to do that kind of work. So this is a great opportunity. And the Oaks is phenomenal, but they only have limited spaces with all of the school districts converging in our area to certain, for certain seats. So this gives us an opportunity to bridge that community gap a little bit better, so.
And it's really not either or. I mean, just because you're interested, you still, it requires education. It requires, you know, learning. So I just think it's really great.
It is. It's exciting.
Absolutely. I think that was a great discussion, because I think one of the pivotal things that everybody's saying is we got to get away from the mindset of it's either or.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times we think it's either or, and it's like, oh, well, now you're down this track, and now you're down that track.
Yeah.
Taking away that limitation can definitely enhance the education of our students.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, board, for that discussion. If there is no more discussion, Mr. Seymour, can you call for the vote?
Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. Thank you, board. Next on the agenda is the 10.05 Certified Administrative Salary Schedule. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thanks again, Mr. Smith. Board, and again, thank you for 10.04, your favorable approval of the job description. Now that we've approved that, that you've approved it, 10.05 would be placing that particular position on a salary schedule. So that's what we're doing in 10.05, is taking a look at the administrative salary schedule and placing that particular CTE coordinator as a coordinator in the group second toward the bottom, if you will. That's where it's located. So Board, the recommended action at this point would be to approve the certified administrative salary schedule effective for this school year, the 24-25 school year, as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Denny. Board, a motion is in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the certified administrative salary schedule effective August 1st, 2024 as presented.
I'll second.
That's been motioned and seconded. Is there any call for discussion?
Just kind of a point, and I know Randy, you explained this, it makes sense that it does say August 1st, 2024, as noted with the previous discussion about the date. And
Any other discussion, anyone?
I do know, and we don't have an assistant superintendent, but I know that we've kept that line item and kept the job on there just for a point of clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
That is correct.
So you said it was second from the bottom?
Yes, it's in the group of just above athletic director.
It's called coordinator.
Oh, you just call it coordinator, okay, all right.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, I was like,
Yeah.
that's the one.
If there were to be another coordinator, perhaps, it could be placed
You
in
could
the
just,
same,
okay, I see.
without coming back to the board to change it
Okay.
for the same classification.
Perfect.
And there was no changes to the ranges or anything?
Right.
Because I noticed that the assistant soup range and the executive director range are off, and it looks like it would be, the beginning ranges are different, so I don't know. Were those the same as they've always been?
I'm actually not sure. Ms. Wilson? Ms. Wilson? Do you mind approaching?
The assistant superintendent range
Thank
and
you.
the executive director, like, how do you have it?
I didn't know the answer to this, so I'm phoning a friend.
That would not work for me.
Basically because that's where they were set many years ago.
Okay.
And we've never changed the range for assistant superintendent since we established those ranges.
Okay.
But we have
Assistant
changed the ranges for
the
executive
executive director.
director.
Probably because we never had one in the position.
We haven't, but if we do, I don't want to approve this,
Executive director starts
that
at
there's no way your assistant should be making less. starting
Well, the
off.
superintendent has the authority to place
change
them
that.
anywhere
Okay.
Within
in
that.
that.
That's
Yeah.
what I figured, which makes
That's why
sense.
it's a range.
Yeah. and
Mr.
I'm-
Denny could say 150, 156, and then he would
Okay.
hire them. Because
Which-
you've given him permission.
Correct,
within the
correct.
Yeah.
I just started the starting number and thought, oh, that's odd.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's probably just, it hasn't
Because we never
caught
had
We
up.
haven't
anybody in
had
that
one
role.
Yeah, we never had to address that.
in
so.
years. We
That's my
did.
guess, is it hasn't been updated
Yeah.
since.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and historically, this is 3 superintendents ago, so under Dr. Nasby, she was the last superintendent to have an assistant superintendent. And what she believed in a flat organization, and so she elevated certain people to executive directors and wanted everyone to be even. That's kind of the historical reason how we went from assistant soups to executive directors. But we perform a lot of the same job duties as assistant soups
Thank you for that.
and had some of the same licensure, some of us.
Appreciate that. Makes sense.
Is that helpful, Ms. Bryant?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
And then, if you want to come back and address that, we can talk about that later.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Good.
If there's no further discussion, Mr. Seymour, can you call for the vote?
Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is 10.06, proposal for overnight extended student trip. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thanks again, Mr. Smith. Board, you should have before you a overnight field trip request form. This is from Winton's Intermediate School. 6th grade teacher, Mr. Don Schutte, would be the sponsoring staff member, but it has all the appropriate approvals. This would be for a trip to the Ontario, Canada region on June 10th through 17th of this particular school year, so during the summer. It is to the Awakanza area, and it is essentially a wilderness canoe trip. wilderness trip and camping trip. So board, the recommended action at this point would be to respectfully request that you approve the proposal for overnight extended student trip for those dates as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Denny. Board, a motion is in order.
Mr. President, I'll recommend that we approve the proposal for the overnight extended student trip for Winton Woods Intermediate School 6th grade, June 10th through the 17th, 2025, to Ontario, Canada, as presented.
And I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I just want a comment. I think that in the South Campus, the 2 canoes were made by this group.
Yes.
So just if you've been there on the Night of Excellence and have seen those 2 canoes in the libraries, there's one on the the second floor of the 3rd grade building, and I think it's the 5th and 6th grade building.
Yes.
But I'd just like to point out a benefit that they put here. In what ways will this benefit students? And it says, students will not only have the opportunity to build academic, collaborative, and leadership skills, they will also get the chance to disconnect from their digital world and reconnect to each other and their natural surroundings. And I thought, phenomenal, I love it.
In other words, cell phones won't work out here.
That's accurate. Better send out some smoke signals.
Evidence.
Whew, man, I'm bringing satellite phone or something. I can't do it. I can't do it.
That's exactly what they have to bring for the trip.
Yeah, I figured that. Man.
That sounds very relaxing.
And to your point, Mr. Spielman, it's worth recognizing this group publicly. It's the Urban Wilderness Program.
Mm-hmm.
It's the business partner that's been working with our schools the last few years.
A phenomenal experience for kids. And I was wondering what the age group is, and when I saw 6th graders, it's like, you know, at that age, my son, we thought my son was born 100 years after his time. You know, he was just into wilderness and camping. It was perfect.
Mr. Spielman, you saying you want to be a chaperone?
I didn't. I did that enough.
I was reading between the lines.
I slept on a tree root. No.
Reading between the lines. Just, you know me.
No.
I always reading between the lines.
When you put a sleeping bag, it's always going to be on a tree root. No. No.
I think any opportunity like this that can get in front of our students is amazing, and I'm excited for them and looking forward to hearing about it when they get back.
Yeah, same.
Well, there won't be any pictures, so.
There's cameras. They do have cameras
First couple
still.
days.
Remember those
Yeah, they got to
things?
disconnect somehow, you know.
They have cameras. You don't have cell
Digital
phones.
cameras.
They gonna have a
Cameras with
Polaroid out
film.
there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
One good point they do say here in communication is that they will be sending information and the students to Drew Jackson, an effort to promote the trip both before and after the experience. So nothing about during, before and after the trip.
Right.
Crossing the border, we're back.
So.
That'll be exciting. I
think-
can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait to
Neat
get
stories.
We'd also love to see if we can get them to appear before
yeah.
our friends at Waycross and do a Supercast
Absolutely.
episode as well.
Yeah.
And have
Absolutely.
They can
love
take
to
a
see
shower
them
between the
present
time they get back and the time
Very,
they
very
do it.
critical.
It seems kind of foreign now to think about traveling without the cell phone. But I remember going to camp. We didn't have cell phones, and you
Before cell phone.
It was
were
before
out
cell
in
phones.
nature.
We didn't have cell phones.
We had a couple on a string, girl. What you talking about?
We had a party on.
Rocks.
No, I think this is a great opportunity.
Comparison.
Wonderful. We're all still here.
So true.
Yes, yes.
All right, Mr. Seymour, if there's no more discussion, can you call for the vote?
Sure. Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye, if Mr. Spielman goes as a chaperone.
Conditional.
That's conditional. All right, that vote passes unanimously. Thank you, Board. 10.07, Resolution, Special Education Model Policies and Procedures with Slight Modifications. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. So, Board, you should have before you a resolution. This is prepared by Neola and the attorneys that work with Neola. And it is indeed a modification to what the board resolved and adopted on the 27th of January at the regular session. And what developed is, with a little more time to review those model policies that ODEW had just developed, it was discovered that there were portions of existing federal law that did not completely agree or were consistent with the newly adopted policies. So the recommendation from the attorneys and from Neola, our policy writing firm, is they're recommending to all of their client districts, of which we are one, that board readopts the resolution with the changes in language that are so noted in the attached resolution. That there were 4 areas, and they're mentioned on those particular page numbers, that need to be modified in some way, shape, or form in order to make sure that the districts, including us, are compliant with all provisions of federal law. So the recommended action would be to approve the special ed model policy procedures with the slight modifications as presented.
Thank you, Superintendent Denny. Board, a motion is in order.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution of special education model policies and procedures with slight modifications as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any discussion? No discussion, let's call for the vote.
Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye, that vote passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Board. Moving right along to 10.08. Resolution Counseling Awareness Month. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thank you again, Mr. Smith. Board, you should have before you a resolution honoring and acknowledging our school counseling staff. The month of April is National Counseling Awareness Month. And so to that end, Board, you should see a resolution prepared for your consideration and favorable approval that acknowledges the contributions of our counseling professionals and how they enhance and enrich the lives of our young people. Board, the recommended action would be to approve the resolution for Counseling Awareness Month as presented.
Thank you, Superintendent Denny. Board, a motion is in order.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution Counseling Awareness Month as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to read it.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
please. Vice President, go right ahead.
So this is a resolution for National Counseling Awareness Month for April 2025. Whereas people of all ages benefit from the work of counseling professionals, and the designation of April as Counseling Awareness Month serves as a fitting means to honor those who dedicate themselves to this important calling. And whereas professional counselors provide a wide range of services to help people overcome mental health challenges and live healthier and more productive lives. And whereas individuals can access professional counseling services through educational institutions, mental health agencies, community organizations, hospitals, rehabilitation centers, private practices, and other settings. And whereas by empowering people to address their social emotional needs and achieve their goals, professional counselors play a vital role in strengthening our communities, and the official designation of Counseling Awareness Month helps to promote a better understanding of their essential contributions. Now therefore be it resolved this 31st day of March 2025 that the Winton Woods City School Board District Board of Education hereby designates April as Counseling Awareness Month. And I do want to just add to that, I think personally we have a fantastic group of counselors in our schools taking care of our babies, and I just want to share my personal thanks and appreciation and love for the staff that we have. We definitely have some of the best out there, and I've personally worked with them, seen them, know them, appreciate them, respect them, and can't say enough great things about them. I mean, we really do have a A1 team, and I just want to definitely thank them for the work that they do. Being in the profession myself, know how challenging it can be, and so I know how selfless that work is and how much appreciated it can go. So thank you to our wonderful, amazing team of counselors and professionals that help throughout the district. I think it just goes without being unsaid. You guys are amazing every day. To show up the way that you do for the kids that we serve here in the district. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice President Knight. Anyone else? Well said.
Ditto.
Mr. Seymour, can you call for the vote?
Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Smith?
That vote passes unanimously. I was just too excited. I couldn't wait. That vote passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Board. Moving on to 10.09, revised 2025-2026 school calendar Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thank you, President Smith. Board, you have before you a revised 25-26 school calendar submitted for your approval and consideration. It remains unchanged with two exceptions, and that is the addition of a professional development day in the month of November, which would fall on the 10th, as shown in the attached document, and also the month of March, which would fall on a Friday, and in particular the 6th of March. And Board, the intent is to be sure that we have professional development days in place each month, at least one per month, such that it can be essentially a preview, review type learning strategy for all of our staff, looking back at the prior month as we implement new curricula, as we study other curricula to be implemented and developed, as we work to continue to implement project-based learning, science of reading, and the many different priorities, MTSS, things that we've discussed and certainly have as priorities in the district. So the intent would be to basically support that learning of our staff going forward each month in a seamless fashion. So Board, you should have before you that particular calendar, and the recommended action would be to approve it for the 25-26 school year as modified and presented.
Thank you, Superintendent Denny. Board, a motion is in order.
I make a motion to approve the revised 2025-2026 school calendar as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I do have a question. I know that we talked about this before, but graduation, we'll have to come back and do this again because graduation is not on here as we finalize those dates going forward for 25-26.
Yes, that's correct, Ms. Bryant. Unfortunately, we've been going back and forth with Xavier, and they've not yet arrived at the dates they intend to select for that year.
Okay.
So they got a ripple effect for the rest of the districts that wait on that information. So we will have to return and bring that back.
You're talking about the graduation for 25-26?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what you're saying. Mhm.
Yeah, thank you.
And 26, 27.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So we don't want families to look at this and start planning for, oh, my kid graduates next year, and I know the date, and it's like, oh, there's no date on here.
Right.
Because we don't even know the date.
We don't know the date.
Yes.
May-
And as soon as we know it, we will let you know.
Yes.
Thank you,
Great
Mrs.
question.
Bryant.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? No. Thank you so much. Mr. Seymour, can you call for the vote?
Sure. Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Board. Next on the agenda is 10.10, revised 2026-2027 school calendar. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thanks again, Mr. Smith. Board, same reason, same process, same rationale. Just an added date again in November, which happens to land on the 9th in the 2026 calendar year. And in 2027, the month of March, the date would land on the 5th of March. But other than that, it's the same rationale. I might also point out that we're still far over the required state minimum number of hours. We're required to have 1,001 hours in school for each child, and we're at least 1,053 or 1,059 hours. So we exceed that target with a buffer for school closures should they become necessary. So the recommended action would be to approve the 26-27 school calendar as presented.
Thank you, Superintendent Denny. Board, a motion is in order.
I can make a motion to approve the revised 2026-2027 school calendar as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Board, is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, can you call for the vote?
Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye, that vote passes unanimously. Thank you, Board. Next on the agenda is 10.11. It's the second read of our new and revised board policy. Superintendent Denny, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Board 10.11 is the final agenda item for superintendent's recommendations. It does consist of 23 policies as a second read. First read occurred last month. And so Board, in keeping up with the state legislature and the pace at which they seem to be moving, the recommended action would be to approve the second read, new and revised board policies as presented.
Thank you, Superintendent Denny. Board, a motion is in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the second read, new and revised board policies as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any call for question or discussion?
Just one point.
Yes.
Having read, I know we've all read these policies, and the term "the warrior way" stresses respect, trust, and responsibility, And one of these just talked about that a little bit, and I just wanted to highlight it. It talks about academic honesty. The board values honesty and expects integrity in the district students. And then it also addresses AI, and there's just a lot of
Which
conversations.
policy are you on?
Pardon?
Which policy?
Student conduct.
Thank you. Go ahead.
5,500, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
And under AI, the use of AI cannot be used to undermine the learning and problem-solving skills that are essential to academic success. And I just thought that was important to bring that out, that we want to use AI, but we don't want to hurt critical thinking and problem-solving skills in our young people.
Absolutely.
And then I was going to ask Mr. Seymour to respond to the one policy number 6,000, just so that the public knows that we're looking at this.
Well,
Which is the 60-day notice.
Cash balance.
We're basically, we've not had this policy, and we're establishing a policy for recommended cash balance reserve. And it's basically, it goes clear back to one of your three primary goals or of your vision, and that we even looked at briefly on Saturday morning, is resources. And this has been evolving for a few years, and then the board last year asked me to look at several policies about cash balance reserves, and Mr. Denny and I reviewed almost 4 of them, and we brought one of them to you that we thought was not over encumbersome, but yet showed the board's commitment to financial stability. It directs the policy says the board shall use the 5-year forecast and be committed to, positive commitment to financial stability through a cash reserve balance of at least 60 days. And if we see in that 5-year forecast, the current year or 3 years, within 3 years out, that we're going to go below that recommended policy, the board and the superintendent and the treasurer shall work together to start a process to rectify that shortfall in cash reserves. That with the current 5-year forecast, this policy wouldn't come into play yet, but if fair share funding goes away, this policy could come into play next year.
Okay.
And it just shows your commitment to address ever-changing scenarios and state funding and how we address those at the local level.
Thank you. Thank you for the update.
And Mr. Seymour, just so we're very clear to the public, by rectify that situation, what are our options in terms of rectifying that situation?
Long-term options.
The board would probably do a combination of, if you're watching the newspapers, what's going on in other school districts right now, you either you pass a levy or you start making cuts. And you don't want to start threatening cuts or making and throwing out levy scenarios without foreplanning. So we can tell in that 5-year forecast now when we're going to reach that point. As of right now, it'd be like 2029 or 28, I'm sorry. But you have to start planning that 2 years ahead. There's all these laws and systems that we have in place about placing a ballot on the levy on the ballot. Superintendents don't want to start doing cuts right now. They want to plan those. If they decide part of this scenario would be reductions in staff, you have to start that 18 months out.
And you said there's still questions on what's going to happen with fair share funding.
It's still up in the air right now. It's in committee, it's in Senate committee, then it goes to House. We'll know July 1st of 2020. 2025.
Maybe we'll know more in the legislative report.
It's not in there.
That wasn't very convincing.
Doubt it.
What a lead-in, what a
Yeah.
lead-in.
But
We got
thank
some
you.
stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mr. Seymour. You know, we don't want to scare anyone, but, you know, we understand the current economic climate that we're in and understanding that how schools are funded. So it is absolutely essential for us to be engaged with our legislature to encourage them to properly fund our education system so that we're not at a crossroads where we have to look at budget cuts, levies, things of that nature on a continuous basis. You know, yes, eventually levies have to come into play at some point in time. That's how we are funded, whether it's a renewal or whether it's a new levy. But, you know, if properly funded from the state level or from the federal level, but, you know, if properly funded, we don't have to go down that road quickly. And so we always want to put that in front of our viewers at home and those people who are interested in the finances of our district. These are things that we have to think about on a daily basis. And so this policy is put in place to help us be able to have good checks and balances as a board and as a district to make sure that we are absolutely handling the funds that we are granted to the best of our ability. So thank you, Mr. Seymour, for that explanation. I know it's not easy sometimes talking about the finances of the district, but it's necessary.
Right, but right now, currently out of the general fund alone, as you know, we get federal funds, that's in question. We get federal funds, we get other grants, but just within the general fund right now, the general fund supports the district operations, $5 million of support a month. So you can't just wait till you have $3 million in it and decide, oh, we better do something. So we're trying to be more proactive and also make succeeding treasurers and succeeding board members have a policy in place to address this.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think, Brandon, you said something profound that, you know, we as the public really do have the onus to make sure that we're educating our kids the right way. But we also have an onus that when we see things to speak up, whether it's to write or call our legislative body and kind of demand accountability, and to use our collective vote to put people in places that are going to do the right things for our community and for our students. And that is funding our schools and making sure that all students in the public arena have access to quality education.
Absolutely. Thank you, board, for that discussion. Seeing there's no more.
Just one thing I
ahead,
wanted to
Dr.
say, there is
Johnson.
the policy on electronic equipment. As I read that one, I hesitate to even bring it up because we're talking about coming up with a policy where you don't use cell phones, but then the policy is a little bit ambiguous, I think. Because in one paragraph it says, oh, well, if the teacher decides to use it as a device, then the students can have their electronic equipment, and then it says there shouldn't be any. I don't know. It is a policy. We are voting on it. There are some changes, but I found it to be ambiguous.
I can understand your, I can understand where you're coming from on that. I've been in a situation in the class where the teacher has used it for academic purposes, and I've been in situations in classes where it's an absolute distraction, and teachers are just like, no, it's a zero policy, you know, in this particular instance. So, you know, I kind of lean on the side of giving that freedom to the teachers or administrators to kind of weigh in and say, hey, this is the policy at this point in time, because I think if we move to that across the board, no, you know, we may hinder some avenues in which teachers are using to educate the students, and then they have to go about redoing syllabus and, you know, things, you know, as an educator, you know. But I definitely understand.
I think it's coming from the state, that whole mandate.
That mandate,
you know,
yeah.
According to the legislative policy, it's coming from the state, but then Neola gives us this. That's what I'm saying when I was reading to them. So anyway, I just made that point. I mean, we're gonna vote on it. There's some changes in it, but it's kind of like what you're saying.
I hope, Dr. Johnson, I should be able to bring board a policy, a draft, to the work session in April.
Okay.
And I hope it helps clarify some of this, because it does touch on that. And it will develop administrative guidelines to help the teaching staff and the administration and the building leaders implement that policy.
Okay.
So hopefully it helps lend a little more clarity at that point.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Thank you, Superintendent. Anyone else? All right, no more discussion. Mr. Seymour, can you call for the vote?
Mrs. Knighton?
Aye.
Mr. Spielman?
Aye.
Ms. Bryant?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously, and we're moving on to our legislative report, 11.01. Dr. Johnson, you have the floor.
Okay, I printed so much that I ran out of ink or paper or something, so I must read this from my screen. But the legislative report is uploaded into Board Docs. It's 33 pages long, and there's a few items that I'm going to highlight. 3 new bills that were introduced. The House Bill 190, which is the gender pronouns, is a bill that introduced the enactment of the Given Name Act regarding the use of gender pronouns in public schools. Now, this might meet with some controversy, but it is introduced, and there will be further discussion on it, at a later date. House Bill 191, which was, I found interesting, regarding teacher salaries, is a bill that is required that all school districts and educational service centers who have teachers, that they be paid a salary of at least $50,000 a year. That is talking about full-time teachers. The next bill that's going to be introduced was House Bill 203, which was involving school zones. And we've had some bills in the past that talk about school zones, but this particular one drills it down just a little bit more, and it says it's regarding the increasing the penalties for vehicular assault and vehicular homicide that occur in an active school zone, to require doubled fines for specific traffic violations in an active school zone, and to name this act the Aspen-Runnels Law. It's usually when you see a law that's named after a student or something that somebody has advocated because that student has been affected by that particular instance, sort of like the Clery Act when it comes to violence on campuses. Those different laws have names of people because somebody has, really pushed for that. For committee hearings, there were some Senate hearings I thought was interesting to highlight. The panel adopted a substitute version of the bill that would require the Department of Education and Workforce to create a universal K-3 diagnostic assessment for math and reading, and require schools to report their K-8 math curriculum and instructional materials being used. And I know our district is just now looking at new materials and that for, math and like that, so I thought it was important to bring that forward. This would mandate that the Department of Education and Workforce would include school report cards, whether reading and math curriculum was used in the school building and what the quality of that, whether it was considered high quality materials. Also to require districts to enroll 7th graders. I thought this was interesting, who scored accomplished or advanced in math achievement in the 8th grade, to make them register in Algebra 1 starting in 26 and 27. I don't know, that's not been a standard policy for us, but that's going to be coming from a state mandate. Mandating that the State Board of Education assess the math proficiency of new applicants for educational licenses. That's for people who are trying to become teachers, that they have that new standard. And it stated that while math is a critical milestone for long-term academic success, there was a recent data that revealed that 38 school buildings had 0 students proficient in 5th grade math in the 2023 and 2024 school year. Kind of a surprise to me. That's kind of no one was proficient. That's kind of a surprise to me. But moving on, Senate Bill 19 is regarding academic intervention services at public schools, and we already have our own academic services, but it's just worth looking at because, again, who put the spotlight on math, again, is talking about math, and establish the establishment of mathematic improvements and intervention plans, and this has been continued. Senate Bill 113 deals with school DEI bans and designed to prohibit diversity, equity, inclusion in public schools, and that's going to be continued at a second hearing with the proponent testimony, and those individuals who brought this bill forward were not in favor of DEI. However, the proponent testimonies will be heard at the next hearing. So next month, I suppose, we'll look at that. Senate Bill 144 talked about educator licenses, and this makes a difference in who's getting licensed and who's not. It requires an educator license in grade bands, and under the operating budget of House Bill 33 in 2023, language was approved for educators to be licensed to teach in either grades pre-K through 8, then 7 through 12. While the reintroduction of the prior legislation, which was Senate Bill 219 of 2024, that would restore the state's prior licensing designation, which was pre-K through 5, then 4 through 9, then 7 through 12, which what it makes a difference is who we hire and where we put them, you know, when we're looking at that. So I thought that was important to bring forward, and that will be continued as well with another hearing with sponsored testimonies as well. And basically, it just kind of puts at risk the consolidation of the grade bands and maybe even some moving around of some of our teachers if that is approved. The kindergarten admissions, in regards to the age requirements for kindergarten, that's still up for discussion. Some people want to move the date up, some want to move it back, just depending. And we had a discussion on Saturday about our kindergarten, so I thought it was important just to at least mention that one. House Bill 127, with respect to school directories. Now, the way we handle it, as I recall, is we have parents sign off if they don't want their child to be included in social media posts or like this. What this is basically saying is also to hold the directory of information or remove the directory information from public records altogether, you know, for school. And that what that would probably affect is, say, like somebody's calling to get a reference for a college, or is calling to get a reference for a student or something like that. If that was in place, that would affect that, you know, which would affect how our staff and our administrators would have to navigate in sharing that information. The current law allows parents and guardians of students under the age 18 and students over the age 18 to request that the Board of Education or the school district withhold the directory information from release. But it also creates kind of a little bit of ambiguity when it talks about, you know, like, you know, referring for college or referring for, you know, so it's just something that makes a difference to how then we will move and navigate how we handle information with our students. House Bill 145, which was instructional hours, and we mentioned that when we were looking at our calendar, so I thought it was interesting and I should bring that forward. Right now, it regards the minimum school number of hours in a school year, and under the proposal, the current floor for instructional hours offered by the school districts per academic year would increase by 53 hours. Well, we're already within that window because we have, I think in one it was 1,051 or 53, and the other one was 1,059. So we're already within that window, but there's some school districts that are not, because currently it is required for 1,001. And what has happened is the state of Ohio began to look at our neighboring states like Kentucky, Michigan, and West Virginia, and they had different hours. So then they're like, you know, so that we can be comparable to them. Kentucky has 1,062, Michigan has 1,098, and West Virginia has 1,080 hours of school, you know, operation. So they were looking at that and say, where can we fall somewhere within that range? So That's all I decided to highlight. It is 33 pages. It's a lot of light reading for, just like, as you're, falling asleep at night or something, I don't know. But it's 33 pages long, and it does have a lot of things that may have potential to change how we do business, and looking for new Neola rollouts of policies based on, what this is. So, okay. That's it for the legislative report for today.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. That was a wealth of information, and we appreciate you and your diligence on that. Moving on to 11.02, our Great Oaks report. And this report was sent by our representative and former board member, Jeff Birdie. We appreciate him in that. And there is a spotlight on one of our Winton Woods students. And Mr. Denny, you have the floor.
Hey, yeah, thank you, Mr. Smith. So the spotlight is something we always scan because we're always looking for our 100 or so young people that are at the Oaks. And this month we do have a young man in the Scarlet Oaks Heavy Equipment and Operations and Engineering program. Wow. And his name is Aiden Eckerly, and his information is he placed second place in the heavy equipment advancing to the state finals. So it's the Skills USA Regionals. So he's been pretty successful in this particular endeavor, so we wish him the best at the next level at the state finals. The only other thing I think I might point out, they look at the legislative report just like we do, which is interesting, of course, not surprising. But they also highlighted if you see that March ACTE report, that's the Perkins 5, or the CTE, that's a federal law, so you can see them keeping a close eye on what I'm sure is a significant chunk of funding for them from the federal government, and the Perkins Act, the federal act that helps provide for CTE and vocational education. But that's a couple highlights from the Oaks.
Thank you, Superintendent Denny, and congratulations to Mr. Eckerly on that, and best of luck to him advancing to state. And of course, thank you to Mr. Birdie again for his continued support this board in his capacity as our representative at the Great Oaks. Yes. At this time, we're going to move on to 13.01, board motions or recommendations. Seeing that we have none, we'll move into comments from board members and superintendent. And I always love to start with our illustrious treasurer, Mr. Seymour.
He's got so much to say.
Well, I have one comment tonight.
What? Come on.
Get some popcorn.
Just as a follow-up to Dr. Johnson's legislative report, as you may know, that the state teachers' retirement system is proposing a 4% increase.
I saw that.
Well, that includes Board of Education's percentage also. That would be a phase-in. Now they're looking at how they would phase that in.
Wow.
So
It's a lot of money.
I'm confused. So you recommend an increase to monies that you're not sure you're gonna
4%,
give
I think.
us?
Right now, it's 14%, and they want it to go to 18.
18, yeah. Wow. Okay. Again, we need to use our voices.
Well, it's always interesting, not to say that, but it's always interesting how sometimes they make these mandates, but they don't tell you where the money's coming from to do it.
Exactly.
Sometimes
We're
they're
gonna
never.
have this, right?
Exactly.
How's that gonna work?
Maybe they need to take the math classes, or make the math proficiency. I'm just saying, yeah.
The math ain't math.
Yeah, I was about to
math
tell
is
y'all
not
know I
math.
say it all the time. The math
Let's be
ain't
honest,
math.
it's not math.
Now don't go in your none of these
Dr. Ragland,
kids
you
go in
need
these
your
school classes
expertise
talking about the
over
math
here.
ain't mathing, and they said the board said it. Well, they did say it, but
Dr. Ragland wouldn't appreciate
right.
that.
I'm sorry, Dr. Ragland,
Well, we need
for
to-
saying that.
We need to send
The
some
math ain't mathing.
legislators to learn math.
Good luck
But I
with
mean,
that.
I mean, all jokes aside, I think that's the case. We can joke about it, but we've got people making laws who don't know education. And we're not experts in education, obviously, but we're studying and reading. We have to hold people accountable. I mean, I appreciate, we all want, mandates. I would love for somebody to say every year we're gonna get a 4% on something, but if you're not gonna give us the money and we can't get the taxpayers to vote or to make, how are you supposed to do this without cutting education to children? The math is not mathing, it's not making sense. It's like the do more with less philosophy.
I think it just shows the critical nature of really involving community leaders,
Absolutely.
legislators, and educating them on how these things trickle down to us, right? And the kids that we serve. Because it is so critical. I mean, I heard Dr. Johnson talk about the policy being introduced to pay teachers a minimum of $50,000. That's wonderful. That should have been,
Absolutely.
in place a long time ago. But how? How do you do that? How do you sustain it? How do you, make all these things work? And so there's some mixed messaging, and I think we just need to continue to advocate in the work that we do and encourage people to do that in any way that they can, and be the voice for a lot of people that don't have them or don't know how to. And so I think that's why we're here, right? Is to do that work. So I'm honored to do it. But it's a challenge, right? That's what we're here for.
I like your summation of mixed messages. We can't get the minimum wage to be an equal amount, but you want to mandate things. So, no, I agree. I appreciate it. It is mixed messaging, and we just have to keep reading and be responsible for the money we have. So thank you very much, Mr. Seymour, for everything your office does to make sure that we are managing the funds that we do receive in a responsible way. And you, Mr. Denny, for that. So I appreciate that.
That's the last time I start with you, Mr. Seymour. You done got everybody all riled up.
No, we're done. That's my comment. We're done. I'm just playing.
No, thank you so much, Mr.
No,
Seymour.
thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Ms. Bryan, you're good?
So in addition, again, congratulations to everyone that was honored. We had a plethora of people, so I won't go through everybody's name. In addition to National Counseling Month in April, we also have Autism Awareness Month from April 1st to the 30th, and National Child Abuse Month in April. Both of those months, you can help celebrate by wearing blue. So the colors of both are blue. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Vice President Knighton.
I hope everybody is coming back today refreshed from spring break. I hope everybody got a little bit of downtime. I really don't have anything much else than that to say, so go Warriors.
Thank you so much. Dr. Johnson?
Again, just to thank everyone for, and acknowledge those individuals who were honored with gifts and recognitions tonight. As an academic and on the college level, I cannot beat this horse hard enough, long enough. Please fill out the FAFSA. You can't get money, whether you want to get a loan, a grant, or a scholarship. Most colleges require that you fill out that free application for federal student aid. And if you have trouble, get in contact with our counselors. They'll help you do it. But do fill out the application for the FAFSA if you're interested or you think you might be interested in going to a college. It's a step that has to be taken. There were several noteworthy events listed on the upcoming school events report that Mr. Denny did at 9.01, but what I didn't see that's usually there for April was the virtual credit check for our 11th graders, and also the for our seniors. Well, the seniors should already know because they're getting ready to graduate, but we usually do it for the 11th graders in April. And so that if they need to plan on coming to summer school so they can graduate next year on time, they need to know that prior to going into the summer. So just to keep ourselves out of hot water and to make sure you need to look at those credits and make sure they're in line, just like you get a credit score for if you're going to get a car, or if you're getting ready to buy a house, they're going to check and see what your number is. And if you don't have enough things in the right column, then you don't get the loan. So you don't get the diploma if you don't have enough things in the right column. So, it just keeps us out of hot water. And I don't remember if I've seen about the interim report card distribution. That's usually in April too. So it might have been on there and I just missed it. Of course, the spring musical is coming up. That's always a lot of fun. That was listed on there. So we'll have some fun with that. I want to appreciate Mrs. Bray for giving us the PBS report. It's important that our kids feel valued. And part of feeling valued is somebody saying, positive things. It's always easy to criticize. It's a little harder sometimes to find something positive to say when somebody's not being their best self, but that's what kind of helps them to get there. So I appreciate your work in that area, and to appreciate Mr. Seymour and Superintendent Denny for their work, and all the people and the stakeholders, the parents that help us do what we do. And I always say this, thank you never seems like it's enough, but we do appreciate you administrators and teachers and counselors and all the people who feed into and help our students. So with that said, go Warriors.
Mr. Spillman.
Thank you. First of all, I hope everyone, especially all of our staff, had a restful, relaxing, fun, and resourcing spring break. Tonight was a night where we honored many students academically, artistically, athletic, and for their strong character. And that strong character might have just led to the other accomplishments. We as the board, along with parents and families, have much to take joy and pride in. And I personally want to commend them for their commitment to work hard, strive, and be excellent, whether it's athletically or academically. From Aiden Ederly, who achieved second place in heavy equipment, advancing to the state at the Oaks, heading towards a career, great career. To our Skyline and Kiwanis Award winners for their academics and character recognition, to our Teacher of the Month, to our 3 girls and 2 boys who qualified at the OHSAA district level competition in wrestling, including Damian Culver, who received the National Wrestling Coaches Association Character and Leadership All-American Award, a character award. To finally highlight our special recognition winners, the boys basketball team who made it to the Elite 8 in their division, and to the girls basketball team who won state finals in their division. The girls were a team with a high score, but also a number of other girls who were on the scoreboard too, working as a team defensively and offensively. Honors to both these teams. And thank you, Mr. President.
Superintendent Denny, keep it short.
Thanks, Mr. Smith. I'm on it. Well, there's so many great things that have already been shared. I'll just add
Take
2
your
items.
time.
One, learning from Mr. Whitaker that the middle school girls wrestling team was second in the city was amazing. It was tremendous. I have to confess, I did not know that. I was not aware. I consider myself educated, and I benefit from that. So that's just something I think we need to celebrate. And then I did want to make sure I mentioned that I did have an opportunity, we talked about Fair School Funding Plan, I did have an opportunity to talk to Senator Steve Wilson, most of his district is in Warren County, but it does dip down into representation in our district. And he was cautiously optimistic about the Fair School Funding Plan outcome. Like Mr. Seymour said, we won't know in fact until probably July 1st or June 30th what the true outcome is. And our district depends a lot on that. We are a poster for the Fair School Funding Plan in terms of the level of support it provides our particular district. We're not alone. There's many other districts in that particular boat as well. But I was at least somewhat encouraged and happy to have a conversation. I was glad that he did reach out. I'd sent some letters out, and he was kind enough to return a call. So that was good. And finally, it's fourth quarter. I'm a former track guy, so we're in the final lap in the mile relay right now is what's going on. And I just really, encourage all of our young people, our staff, or everyone, grateful for what they've done to get us through this far in the year. But you don't want to slow down now. You're in the final lap, so it's the last leg. So finish strong, right? That's really what we encourage all of our young people. And thanks to the team tonight for all their support and being here, and thank you, board, for your investment in our young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Denny. At this time, I see no need to move into executive session, so we can move right into 15.01. I now call this meeting of the Winton Woods City School Board of Education adjourned. Thank you to all in attendance, and thank you to Waycross Community Media for broadcasting this meeting.